Hello everyone, and welcome to Survival Live. This is my live stream series, of course, where we go through every single stage of Survival Minecraft and see what we can get done. So of course, previously we'd sort of been working on going up to the Ender Dragon, and then we kind of got to a point where we're going to have to sort of change what our goals are, because of course we've now defeated the Ender Dragon. We even have Elytra and shulker boxes, so now we're going to kind of focus on building up our base and getting some other alternative challenges. But I hope that everyone's doing great today, and feel free to tell me in the chat how your Saturday has been so far. Mine's been great. I've been setting up a lot of awesome stuff for my channel in the future, and I hope that everyone has been just having an awesome day. And of course, here we are in our beautiful Survival Live base. It's definitely not a large base, and expanding and getting a better base is one of our top priorities. In fact, the things that we're going to be working on today sort of have to do with that, not directly, but indirectly enough that it's still important to do before we build that final base. Now, what we're going to do basically today is we are going to try and get a beacon. I'm not sure if we'll be able to do it all in one episode, but I'll tell you the reason why in just a minute here. But for now, it looks like my inventory is sort of full of crops and items, so I better put those away. Looks like our crop chest is actually full, so we're going to have to head over to the one that is at our farm, sort of on the other mountaintop over here. And it seems like a lot of people have been having great Saturdays so far. I know for me it's Saturday morning, but for some people it might be Saturday afternoon or even incredibly early morning Sunday. I think so anyway, maybe I have my time zones wrong there. But let's put the crops away here, of course. And we also don't really need 2 shields. I forgot our Elytra is almost completely worn out. Of course, getting a mending villager is a very big and important goal we should work on soon. Now, something I could look for is some phantom membranes, because you can repair your Elytra in an anvil. You just don't want to do it too many times, because if you do, you'll kind of lose access to eventually adding that fortune and unbreaking enchantment, which is of course incredibly bad since Elytra are probably the rarest item in the game that people actually care about. Of course, you know, there's things like the dragon egg, but they're more decorative than anything. And even things like the, let's say, enchanted golden apple. And here's something kind of funny. We have someone in the chat that says this is totally a pre-recording. This is actually not a pre-recording, and there is your proof that it's not a pre-recording. I guess I could pre-record these, but, you know, I think it's fun to do an actual legitimate stream, so no, this is definitely not. And we have a question that says, what would you make first in a playthrough, a melon or a pumpkin? Definitely a melon, because a melon of course is a very easy food source. However, a pumpkin really has fairly limited uses outside of trading with villagers. But either way, I think that just in terms of looking at our inventory and what we're going to need for a nether sort of exploration, not really exploration, but just kind of raiding that nether fortress, we'll probably need a better helmet, since our current one, although it has decent enchantments, is looking almost broken. And so if that breaks, of course, we'll have some issues. So let's take a look around here, and I think we do have some other diamond helmets. This one's cursive binding, although it's really good. I'm tempted to wear it, but of course, you know, once a cursive binding helmet is on, it's not really ever going to come off. We could also use this Unbreaking 3 helmet. Actually, here's an idea. Our amount of levels isn't super high, so we can do this. Let's combine our 2 helmets. It's not always the best idea to combine things, but I think that this in this scenario, sort of, it's like a quick and easy solution. So we'll do that. We'll get the protection 3. Always check both ways of combining items. So for instance, right here, these 2 items together will give us the enchantment cost of 3. However, the other way, it's 8. So we want to make sure to always do it the cheapest way. So here, 3 levels down, that's basically nothing. Put that back on our head, and now we have much better armor. And of course, something you might notice is that we have no unbreak or no feather falling 4 on our boots, and so because of that we're gonna have to be extra careful that we don't have any issues with that. But either way, of course, we do have a looting sword in this world, I believe. Yeah, we do. We have looting 3, sharpness 5, sweeping edge 3, unbreaking 3, which is great. So I'm going to show everyone kind of why we want a beacon and why that has to do so much with sort of getting our base going. I'm just going to see here if we have any fireworks. I don't see any, but we do have gunpowder and of course a sugarcane farm. Guess we'll have to head over there. Someone said to go to the deep dark. If we have time, we can head there. We'll have to find a new ancient city though, because the one that's sort of underneath us has basically been fully raided over the last episodes. But overall, I definitely think that raiding the deep dark is something that I might actually want to dedicate an entire episode to at some point, because not only is getting a lot of left sort of like swift sneak books being important, but also some more enchanted golden apples could help us if we are going to do any more interesting challenges that of course require kind of, you know, super high risk scenarios there. We're going to go through here and just harvest a bit of sugarcane to get ourselves some paper for rockets. It's funny because usually in Minecraft the limiting thing when you're trying to get firework rockets is the gunpowder, and although in this world we do not have a gunpowder farm, we do have about 55 gunpowder, and so really it's the sugarcane in this scenario that is our limiting factor. And I think actually in here we have 6 more, so we'll grab that, go over here, and then of course craft that into fireworks. And I think one of my favorite things in all of Minecraft is when events like the sunset or sunrise or something interesting kind of times up with the music perfectly. For instance, right now the background music sort of fading out as the sun sets. Now to be fair, this is not actually background music that's played through Minecraft, it's separate, but something you may not know is that the way that Minecraft's music plays, it's sort of set up to be played at certain events and certain times, and the main ones are basically just kind of different times of the day, and I believe that sunset is one of them, so that's kind of an interesting fact there. Look, we have exactly a stack of fireworks except for one, which is perfect. So we are going to put away the rest of our gunpowder, since that's a very valuable thing for us at this time. And really, until you have a gunpowder farm, gunpowder is just so important. So I don't think we actually have a place for these 2 sugarcane, so unfortunately they're going to have to go somewhere unsorted. Of course, some more food is always good. Not bringing enough food to the nether is like one of the easiest ways of dying for sure. We're going to go through here. And someone's saying the compression on the video is really bad, worse than the VOD. Yeah, unfortunately that's because the way that YouTube sort of deals with video and stuff, it will tend to put kind of less resources into this. So if you want to see this in higher quality later on, you can always also check out the VOD, or you can also try lowering the resolution a little bit there. We'll go through here and grab some more potatoes, probably up to a stack. We do have a shield. We also actually have brewing ingredients and supplies, so it'd be kind of silly to not make a fire resistance potion, but you'll notice we don't have any magma cream, so we're going to have to get one. And I think that it's kind of funny, we're going to have to go back to the nether, which is a dangerous area, you know, dangerous because of fire, and we're going to have to do that so that we can get that. Now I'm actually trying to turn on advanced tooltips. There it is, F3 plus H if you're ever wondering. And I can see my durability on the elytra. It's only 56, which I believe those are seconds actually when it's no unbreaking, so we have very little time on that. And I cannot see any phantom membranes either, so we might actually not sleep for a little while, so that later on we won't have an issue with that. Also, if you're wondering the names of all the allays we have around here, we have the 3 allays up here. There's actually more at the Woodland Mansion, and there's also, of course, more out here. The ones we have named, and these are all named by viewers just like you, maybe even you if you're watching right now. They are Navi, Grum, Whisper, Jerry, Polina, Bob, and Loki. And of course we also have our green parrot Granny Smith, and I love the color contrast here sort of. That's always a big point of builds, even something very small like this, is to have good contrast between those things. And I'll give you a sneak peek of something at some point, hopefully next month. I want to make a video on how to build a base, and it should be really good. They'll have some good decorative tips and things there, so hopefully everyone will like that. But anyway, so we need fire resistance potions. As well as that, I think that some materials to potentially do some MLG jumps would be good. We can keep our elytra on, but we don't have it on for too long because, of course, fighting mobs pretty dangerous thing. So we need some sort of non-nether blocks, so I'll just use cobblestone. But of course, if you want to make things look better, then you can do that. As someone's saying to organize my items, I actually think they are fairly organized, but of course, at this sort of stage, it's a bit of a waste because we have such small amount of inventory room. However, at our next base, we are going to be doing that. But I did make these fireworks for a reason. That is, I'm going to show you where I plan to build my next base. Now, I guess I should probably not even fly because we have so little elytra durability here. I could maybe switch it out with this elytra or kind of bring all 3 of them and just watch that really carefully. We'll switch it for this one, or actually, I think we will keep this one on. Just I want to make sure we have a little bit of durability left for later. So we are going to fly see, we have just a couple seconds here. We're going to fly this direction. I'm just going to keep checking that and make sure we don't die. And right over here, and our base is of course sort of behind us, we have this mountain right here, which is really flat, and it's also a little bit shorter than the other mountains, and that's really important because where we were up over there, it's actually so tall that we have major issues in terms of things around here. Let me just change my settings. The frames are a little bit low there. Maybe just go down to like, let's say 24 chunks should be good. But anyway, and so over here we have this great flat area. Of course there's a bit of a mountain, but you know, lots of room here to build a base. We can kind of see all of our bases nearby and stuff. And so overall, maybe if we go to about this Y level here, I guess that's 188 there, and we can kind of cut it all down, and we're gonna have like probably a 120 by 120 block area to build something. And I've somewhat already planned a base that we can build over here. It'll definitely be like a 5-episode, 10-episode project, something like that. But of course, there's so many things that go into building a base. I think it should still be quite interesting. So anyway, of course, to dig away all the stone here, all the iron, all the, you know, other materials, maybe calcite, we're going to need a beacon, or it's going to take us like 3 episodes just to do that. And so the idea would be today we're going to try and get a beacon, and then we'll get the iron for the beacon, because of course we don't really have time to set up an iron farm, just from mining it out of the mountains here. Because for instance, like right here, we could mine ourselves, like just there is already 9 raw irons. That's an entire block of iron collected in like 20 seconds. So we can probably get the about 2.5 stacks we need in like 20 minutes of iron mining later on. But anyway, let's finish up the baked potato. We're going to fly back, and there's actually another thing that's really cool about doing this project, and that's that, believe it or not, we already have, I think anyway, a singular wither skull. And the reason why is getting so low here on the durability. The reason why is we got it kind of as a lucky chance a little while ago. And so I'll show you guys that. So we just have to find 2 more, I believe. I will see if that's correct anyway, since I get all my survival worlds messed up. But I think right over in the nether items chest, which is maybe this chest? Yeah, there it is. We have a 1 wither skeleton skull. So that's great. That's going to save us tons of time. We just have to find a additional 2. Which shouldn't be that hard, honestly. So we're going to put these other elytras back. We'll keep the highest durability elytra on, but just as sort of a safety precaution more than anything. And then what we're going to do is we're going to head into the nether. We're going to try and find just a couple magma cubes, and then we're going to head back, make those fire resistance, and then we'll go for the full raid. And we have a super chat from Tanya Phillips that says, I should be bringing chorus fruit if I'm worried about elytra durability. That is actually a very good point. I should be doing that, so maybe I will do that in just a second here once I defeat the skeleton, which I am being very inefficient at. I have, I feel like this would hurt a lot more. You know, I like full hearts for having 3 arrows inside of my arm, but you know, of course it's Minecraft, so arrows just sort of stick there whether you're damaged or not. Now, magma cubes, if you're wondering where to find them, spawn the most in the basalt deltas. I don't know where there would be one around here. I'm sure there is a basalt delta, but I'm not exactly sure where we could find it. So we may just have to do is we might have to just go without the fire resistance, but then sort of be actively looking for magma cubes. And if we do find one, we can head back, make those, and then go the other way. And so we're going to go over here and just get our last few materials we need. So an ender pearl or 2, very important. That's a really good way of not dying. We will do what the super chat mentioned and try and find a couple chorus fruit. I think I have a couple. Yeah, here we go. We may as well take the whole stack, or maybe we'll take about half in case we die, which we shouldn't. I hope not anyway, but a lot of really good stuff on us. Might actually be a good idea just to leave our 2 best diamond tools here, because I don't see a reason why we would need them. I guess we kind of would if they went maybe an iron replacement. Sometimes it's good to sort of get like some less good tools. Yeah, like right here, we can just use this iron one. Maybe if we have a fortune one here, yeah, this is even a worse one. Yeah, this one's fortune, so you can just replace that. I will kind of look through all of our tool set, really. Maybe the shovel. Yeah, we'll just switch it out for this shovel. So again, if we die, we're not losing quite as much. Always a good idea to sort of take extra safety, in case, of course, you die in the nether, because the nether really is the most dangerous biome, much more than even the end. As with the end, it's more of sort of just a focusing on the void and trying not to fall on it. And someone's wondering where we got the saddles. I think they might have actually come from the ancient city, but probably also the Nether Fortress, if I remember correctly. Actually, no, I think these were from the end cities. So we're gonna go over here. We'll bring a shulker box too. That's usually a good idea. And I think that should be all we need, but I'll double check real quick. Alright, let's take a look. Actually, some gold. A gold helmet, that's a really important thing. I just thought of that. Of course, we need to protect ourselves from piglins. And I'll bring a bit of gold too. Maybe some bartering would be a fun project. We could technically get some fire resistance potions from that. And, you know, we're going to bring the rest of the food as well. Because like I've always said, food is the #1 thing you're going to run out of. And I think an extra shield too. Never can be too safe, because I remember the last time we were doing this, we nearly died, in fact I think like twice, by literally like 1 heart or half a heart in the nether, and the only reason why we lived is because of using our shield strategically. But here we go into the nether. So there's still something kind of exciting about it. Someone's saying that I should get some snowballs. I could. The thing about snowballs is that they're sort of more of a fun way of defeating the blaze than a really useful way, and of course the reason why is that you actually have to hit a blaze with like tons and tons of snowballs for it to be effectively damaged, so it's not super useful. And of course we're going to grab that. Besides, we're not really going for blaze rods anyway. Mostly we're just going for the wither skeletons themselves, and then of course trying to get the skulls. We do have looting 3, we only need 2 skulls, so it'd be kind of surprising if we couldn't find it. And speaking of rare things, look at this, we have a baby zombified piglin that's a chicken jockey, and it has an enchanted sword, which is pretty cool. It's always fun to find these, and you know, sometimes really rarely you'll find like a random chicken that's just around in the world if that mob, let's say, despawned or died, because sometimes they'll sort of suffocate themselves because the AI isn't really perfect on those. I guess I shouldn't even really be using my elytra at all, just sort of saving it for more better uses. And of course we have our path here to the Nether Fortress. If you're wondering, you know, how do you not get lost in the Nether? It's doing this. It's getting a block that is not sort of natural to the Nether, and then using that as a way of marking out where to go. So for instance here, we're never going to think that these slabs are something natural. And right here we have, of course, a wither skeleton. So we're going to try to get this. It just fell down because it's not the best. It literally just fell down through the rest of the tree. I hear another one inside of here. So the best idea we have is probably to go like this. Now it's trapped. If you notice, it can't really get to us. It's sort of blocked off there. And so let's see, we could technically get super lucky and get both the wither skulls right here. But of course that's not going to happen because, you know, low chances like this are really more impossible than they are even technically possible. And of course there's another one that fell down here. So what we can do, it's a little risky, but we can kind of fall down here and we can try and find that wither. I'll just switch my armor and we should be okay. I see it's right over there. It's actually not that bad. We'll just let it come over here. As long as we can knock back hit it in time, we're good. There we go. We just have to get back up here through the rest of this fortress, and it shouldn't be too difficult. Now we might have to use our elytra or block up. Blocking up is sort of my term I came up with. I don't know if I came up with it, but it's what I call when you sort of place blocks beneath you. I think people call this like nerd pulling or all these other different terms, but you know, sort of the very realistic way of building, like where you have the things beneath you. It's quite funny. So of course here as well we have like these areas that are blocked off. We don't really need to have those anymore. And actually we should get rid of the torches here, because torches can stop the spawning of the withers if it's at the junctions, so we have to be aware of that, of the wither skeletons of course. Sometimes in my videos I'll sort of mess up 2 words, and I know people always comment down below things I might mess up. And I find it quite funny because there have been times that I'll mess up wither and wither skeleton a lot, so it's like we're going to go find the withers in the Nether Fortress and then defeat the wither skeleton that we've summoned in, but of course it's really the exact opposite of that. But we're going to get rid of all these blocks sort of telling us where to go, even though that's stupid. I guess we could keep them there as long as they're not blocking the path, but we want to, you know, give ourselves mostly just freedom to move around. Now, something that's really the biggest issue with the Nether Fortress in general, and the reason why you want to be really careful with it, especially around the wither skeletons, is that it's very dark, and the wither skeletons are of course very dark as well, and so it's really sometimes difficult to kind of see the wither skeleton sticking out from the nether bricks. So something I would always say you should do, if you can, is to place down some torches, or at very least to play at the highest gamma that you can, so that you can really see that differentiation, because, you know, if they're right in front of you, you'll notice, but usually they're not, and so because of that, it can often be a lot easier than you would think to sort of stumble into one. But we're going to go to sort of the outwards section that is around here somewhere. I'm not sure where. I guess it would sort of follow the non-blocked off paths. So it's funny because these are blocked off and these are blocked off, so we should probably just, you know, block it off at the base over here. That's usually the best idea with something like that. We'll see what's down here. I guess actually that was the double staircase, so it's probably this way. We blocked this off, so again we're sort of following the what's not been blocked off path, but again this has also been blocked off. Now this goes to the outside section, so this should lead us to an area where there could be the wither skeletons anyway, so we'll take a look at that and see what's around here. This is definitely the right area. I'm not sure why I'd blocked that off, because I can see some areas that I've built in. The unfortunate thing is about the Nether Fortress is that unless it is a... oh, there's a wither skeleton. Unless it is the Soul Sand Valley Nether Fortress, then you will not have a lot of mobs. But if it's in the Soul Sand Valley, you get so many, it's completely crazy. Here's this one. They usually do not spawn in groups of one, so always good to be aware of that. We're going to hit this with the first looting. Hey, look at that. We got a skull. That's awesome. We now have 2 wither skeleton skulls. Very good. If anyone has access to the emotes, if they're a member, be sure to spam the Pog emote because it's very appropriate right now. If you want to, of course. And we'll get this one too. Like I said, they are almost always in groups, so very big trick to be aware of. You'll see one, the other one will be hiding. So always look for that other one. That can sort of get you when you're not paying attention, but it's awesome. We already got one. It's a little bit luckier than you'd think, and of course here of all the Pog emotes. I just love those emotes we have. So again, special thanks, and I said this a couple times now, but special thanks to Mythic Mutations for making these amazing emotes. I just love them so much, and I think they add a bunch to the streams. And if you're wondering how you yourself can get access to these emotes, if you're not a channel member, then there is a way of joining my channel. There's a join button right next to the subscribe button, and I think it's for $2 or $3 a month, something like that. It's basically the lowest one I was able to do. Then you can get access to all of the emotes there, and of course you can use them in streams and comments and in anything else. But either way, let's see what's around here. It's so exciting that we already have 2 of these skulls. I mean, that's going to get rid of half the effort, really. There is a hoglin. I'll actually show you how to deal with a hoglin. It's a little bit different. You want to build something like this, because they can go through a 2-block space, or 2-block space, but they can't go through a 1x2 like this. So we can sort of get them that way, whereas sort of normally we'd have to be more careful. So we'll go through here, and we got 6 raw pork chops and 4 leather from one. That's called the beauty of looting, and that's one of the reasons why it's so important to get looting if you can. Incredibly important. And speaking of memberships, thank you so much to Lucas, I'm going to probably say this wrong, Pasai for Meal, for becoming a member for 2 months, and we're just hit by a piglin that has a fire aspect sword, so that's pretty crazy. We're going to block it off here. Good thing I have good armor on, because fire aspect of course can be incredibly deadly. You know, I don't know about you, but one of the craziest and quickest death spirals I've ever been in is if you have a skeleton with a power and a fire aspect, or I guess flame bow. I found I can get killed by those so quickly because you're not even noticing it, and suddenly you have like 4 hearts gone and you're on fire. So it's absolutely crazy how quick that can be. But thank you very much to all the channel members there for joining, now that I'm not being, of course, attacked by the wither skeletons and by the piglins. Alright, let's see what's sort of back to where we were before. I kind of want to find, I can hear them, but I want to find the area where I was fighting these withers. I hear a wither over here, so we can probably dig above us. This is kind of dangerous because it could be like directly above us, and in fact, yes it is. So it could fall down on our head, but we have, oh yeah, there it is. Just like I said, there is the wither, and it's funny, it just ran away from me. It's scared. It realized I have diamond armor. It got intimidated. But I think, look at that, what in the world? That's like an AI glitch. It's like it's trying to, oh, maybe it can't go through. Oh, maybe if I break that? Oh, there we go. Yeah, look at that. It couldn't go through, so it just is like, no, I'm not going to even try. That's funny. You'd think it would sort of stay at the edge of there, but no. So we killed one, we killed two. Of course, no head, because that's incredibly statistically average. And we're going to go over here, and we have our shield to sort of be our form of fire resistance. It's actually crazy, because with a fire resistance potion, you can literally get hit by those fire charges. There's no damage even. Of course, you're not set on fire either, but there's literally no damage as if they didn't exist. So the only thing that a blaze can do to you is the melee damage. If you're like touching the blaze, then it can hurt you. But outside of that, you're like perfect. So it's absolutely crazy the level to which fire resistance makes blazes almost completely useless. Just of course being careful about that melee attack. And we're gonna go up here. Look again for more of the wither skeletons. The idea is to sort of get far away from a certain section of the fortress and then go back to that area, because mobs can only spawn if they're 20 blocks away from you or further. And so because of that, if we are closer than 20 blocks to an area where a mob could potentially spawn, then we're not going to have any new mobs be there. So sort of moving around a lot is a really important thing. Seems basic, it kind of is, but really important to sort of explore the fortress, keep moving around it, even waiting in one area for a little minute to allow an area on the other side of the fortress to have time to summon in mobs. But there is an entire area of the fortress that we've not done anything with yet, and that's the area where we were before killing the blaze a couple episodes ago, because there's I think about 2 blaze spawners next to each other. Now I believe the entrance to that area is really close. I think it's through here. I might be incorrect though. I know that we sort of went through a pathway that was blocked off, and of course it's sort of a strange fortress as it is. We can try and find that. We could actually just pile up here. I know we're sort of running low on blocks, but maybe we'll just manually walk to this area. Sometimes the big open areas are good for the withers because you can kind of see farther. And so we could see, oh, in the distance there's a wither. Before, if we were inside of course, part of the structure, we couldn't see that as much. Someone's asking, why is the Wither in Bedrock Edition stronger than Java? That's actually a really good question. And I think that it's mostly due to the fact that the development teams are very different across Bedrock Edition and Java Edition, and so because of that, maybe the developers of Bedrock Edition decided that they just wanted a more difficult Wither experience. Now, of course, with Bedrock as well, you have the added limitations of being like on a phone or on a console. Controllers are just, by default have a slower reaction time than a mouse and keyboard, same with of course phone controls, and so it adds even another element of difficulty to that. So I know a lot of people complain about Minecraft being too easy. Maybe that's their solution, the Bedrock teams. And thank you very much to Dirtbag PSN for a $100 super chat that says you're the best Eyecraftmc. Well, thank you very much for that, and you have been a great support to the channel, and I incredibly appreciate the continued support to the channel. And of course, super chats are the best way of supporting my channel. Currently I'm using the funds for those to pay for my Minecraft server, and if you actually want to join that, it's called play.eyecraftmc.com. It's Bedrock and Java, which is quite a cool benefit for all my Bedrock audience. A lot of people only have Java servers, but my one includes Bedrock as well. We can play cooperatively, which is cool. So if you have a friend you've always wanted to play Minecraft with, but you're on Bedrock, they're on Java, or the opposite, you could actually do that through my server, and that is play.eyecraftmc.com. Feel free to join my Discord server for more info. Now look at this. I'm so glad this happened because it sort of represents something. If you looked over there, you might have noticed that that wither skeleton was kind of trying to fight the piglin. And the reason why is that wither skeletons and piglins, believe it or not, actually have a long-standing rivalry and will try and kill each other. It's a really interesting and not super well-known fact, but it's very true. And so you'll notice even right there, we saw there that piglin and that wither skeleton, they're trying to fight. And it sounds like such a funny fact, but it's actually true. It's surprising, but yeah, believe it or not, they do. And so because of that, we have that. Look at that. We saw another funny thing. That piglin that just jumped into lava decided to hit the hoglin. It had a fire aspect sword because we noticed it just went on fire. And of course, here we have this. When I hear another wither skeleton. To use a lot of hearing for these. I found, there's all these different sound effects and sort of important things. And yeah, there we go. There is a wither skeleton. It's 2 of them. They're next to each other. It's a little dangerous. We're gonna be careful here. We should be okay though. So that one actually got hit forward. If we weren't careful, we could have gotten hurt there. No extra heads. We're still at only 1 head gain today. We already had another head, so we only need 1 more. And if you're just joining the stream, we are trying to get a beacon, and I probably should have that be the thumbnail of the stream, but oh well. It is what it is. Of course, we have some of the blaze spawners right here, and we are going... See, that was a melee attack right there. Actually, you can probably run out of there real quick. Be careful. If you ever see yourself getting sort of damaged really quickly, running is never a sort of bad thing to do. You always want to be careful with that. Of course, again, even being on fire and having all these blaze, not super dangerous for us right now because we have good armor, but you always want to be aware of that. And, you know, so much better to not die and go through that absolute hassle and mess and just unfortunate sort of event that can make your world more difficult for a while. And of course, if it's hardcore, then it's the most unfortunate thing that can happen in your world is dying. I guess the only other thing that could happen in hardcore that's maybe worse than dying is a curse of binding pumpkin on your head, because of course there's literally no way of getting it off, so that's kind of a funny thing that can happen. And also, if you want to, be sure to like the stream or like the video right now, as it does help it a lot, and it also makes more people see it live, but it also makes more people see it when it's not live. So tell YouTube that you're enjoying this stream. Not about me, it's about just giving the YouTube algorithm the extra data, more or less, and then more people will see that, which is pretty cool. And we are going to kill that, and we already have 32 blaze rods. See, this is what's unfair. We have 32 blaze rods. Where's our 32 wither skeleton skulls? That would be kind of funny, actually, if they were that common. Obviously not really a good thing, but it would be kind of funny. So yeah, I mean, that's a great thing about looting. Again, so many of those wither skeleton skulls are the blaze rods, that is, not wither skeleton skulls. But there is more wither skeleton skulls too, of course, so, you know, benefit overall. This is the area I was before. We're going to go back to the kind of other area, but I actually see right here, lo and behold, we have 3 wither skeletons, and we're going to actually try and attract them. We'll leave 1 at least, and we're going to get them over here. They can't really go through here, so we're going to kind of get them. We have to be careful of this blaze, though. The blaze isn't too much of an issue, but, you know, now we're on fire, so that's not ideal. There's some more of that, and then we're going to go look for the other withers here. We might just get this one without running away, honestly. We don't have to worry too much. I guess we might get set on fire, to be careful of that, but there's one last wither. I think they can spawn up to 4 in a group. Interesting, they actually have the same amount of health as a same amount of health as any other undead mob, so like a zombie or a skeleton. So if you have a even smite 4, you can critical attack them dead. And I realized that, as everyone always tells me, I'm forgetting to do my critical attacks. I don't usually forget, I think just, there we go. It does of course add a bit more damage if you're in Java. Jumping, hitting on the way down is a critical attack. That's, if anyone references a critical attack, that's all you need to know. Just jump and hit on the way down. And that's basically all that is. And I guess the idea would be there'd be sort of more force behind your punch, and that's going to probably, looks like I was about to run off. See, these are pretty stupid in terms of their AI, because they don't go around, which is interesting. Because you sort of assume most mobs would. Like this one, even this one, right? It's just, it's not going around. So I think that some mobs might. Like I think a Vindicator might. I know that the AI does have certain sort of differing levels of how smart it is. It's not a lot, but I think there is like a slight variation. So for instance, right there, apparently a skeleton that hasn't had a brain in years because it was, well, it's an undead mob, it's dead of course, probably is a little bit less smart than maybe a living sort of human-like Vindicator, I guess, would be the lesson to that. And that's a real question really, is what is the, what was a wither skeleton before it was a wither skeleton, you know? I mean, something I was just thinking of on the moment right here is it almost makes me wonder if it was like some sort of a Enderman. I guess it probably isn't because the models don't match up at all, but you know, there is a point where, I mean, they do have sort of black bones, but as well as that, they are tall, right? They're much taller than the normal mob, so maybe, who knows, maybe they are a wither skeletons. Someone just asked, do doors make pockets of air in Bedrock? Unfortunately, they don't. No, it's in Bedrock, like almost every single item is able to be waterlogged. In fact, like basically everyone. There's not really any limitations to that. So unfortunately, you cannot use that trick in Bedrock. Your best idea is to bring magma blocks. And magma blocks, of course, work well in Java as well. You want to place those down, crouch on top of them. and you can regain air in a fully sort of bug-proof way, because it's not a bug to use magma blocks. Technically, maybe in Java it's a bug to use the door as well, I'm not sure, but of course it's been in the game forever, and it didn't used to be a bug before waterlogging was a feature. So there is that, of course. And I guess we're going to keep looking for another few wither skeletons. There's not that much of an issue that we're going to have in terms of finding more, because once we do find them, we only need to find one more of these skulls. So we'll explore around a little bit more. We're going to try and grab that. I forget actually how I got to that other area again. I should kind of mark this out, like place down specific blocks or something. These areas in the Crimson Forest are fairly dangerous, so we want to be aware of that. And sort of... you know, Crimson Forest is definitely the most dangerous biome. Maybe Basalt Deltas is more, but, you know, in terms of a biome that you're going to have a high probability of actually exploring, definitely the Crimson Forest is very dangerous. So, go around here. And of course, there's lots of dead ends we keep going into because we're ignoring our warnings right here of sort of not moving past an area. Like this block kind of tells us that. We'll take a look around. I think we're kind of going back to where we were before. Yeah, that goes back. So we're kind of further away. What we're kind of doing right now is we're giving an opportunity for those withers to spawn a little bit farther away from where we are. And now this, if you ever find this room, actually, I've mentioned this before, but most people do not know this. This is the lava well room, and this room is the bridge between the outside and the inside portions of another fortress. It always is. And so basically, if you find one of these, one direction, everything will be inside, the other direction, everything will be outside. And that's the only link that there is in the entire fortress that goes between the two sections of it. So you'll never find another area that sort of connects those two areas unless they sort of overlap unnaturally. And someone's wondering how to find a mushroom island. Now, mushroom island, there's no specific way of finding it, but I'll give you some hints. The first one is they can only be in the deep ocean. They cannot be in a standard ocean, like a shallow ocean, I guess you could call it. Well, it's not really called that, but, you know, they can't be in the shallow oceans, only deep oceans. But as well as that, I think that's true anyway, and as well as that, actually, no, is that true? I'm not sure. But I believe they can only be sort of in the central areas, because one thing is they cannot touch any other biomes other than ocean biomes. And so because of that, you will never ever find them touching any other biome if it was generated in 1.18 or onwards. So do not sort of explore around a shoreline. You want to go through large sections of ocean. Another good trick is, you know, chunk base, of course. I always say this when people want to find something, but it is the best way. You want to find a seed finder. Seed finders are definitely the best tool for getting anything you want. And of course, you know, there's lots of mobs here. Look at this. Be careful. It's kind of a slightly more dangerous situation, but we're going to try and knock them down here. Do some critical attacks. There we go. And this one's, again, very, very bad AI on these, which is amazing. And we'll get that. And no more skull, of course. They're being stingy with their skulls today. I cannot tell because of the sort of dark smoke around there. I can tell now, but something I've noticed actually, if you see there's a lot of those really dark smoke particles around the blaze, very difficult to know if it is a wither skeleton behind them or not. I found that myself, that, you know, because there's this huge cloud of smoke, all these different things, it's like, it can be really hard to see sort of what that is. But I think this is going back to, yeah, this is the area where we were before. We found a lot here. This sort of the area. And there we have, this is always annoying because the sweeping edge can get you here. Like if we hit this without a crit, then we could very easily, yeah, get that Enderman that literally walked right in front of us without the sweeping edge there. We could definitely have an issue. Of course, we have these because we have no gold on. So we're going to go this way. And hey, we have a super chat, and it is from Muffin, and it says, first thing you do after getting full netherite armor. Well, I think in this world, actually getting full netherite armor should be a very soon goal. So good thing you remind me of that. But I think that the first thing I would generally do once I guess the idea would be best tools, sort of, best armor, that idea. Is I start raiding a lot of structures. Now, I tend to raid structures a lot more than I would say the average player does, because I find the Minecraft terrain to be quite interesting. But, let's say that you find you have your full netherite armor and stuff, If you're confident in your abilities to not die, because of course you don't want to lose that armor, bastions are very good thing to raid if you have full netherite, because really dangerous with the piglin brutes there, even with full netherite. And you sort of have that extra layer of protection there, and especially since the full netherite armor has that fire resistance to it, raiding bastions is a great idea. Another thing is what you can do is you can actually, kind of a fun challenge I find if you're trying to, you know, level up your PvP skills, or your, well, PvE skills technically, player versus enemy, not player versus player. What you can do is you can just stay up different nights, go to like a big plains biome, and sort of try and kill as many mobs as you can possibly find. And if you don't have a gunpowder farm, let's say, you could farm yourself some firework rockets that way. But as well as that, it's just good practice of sort of moving around in ways that are really stealthy. And so, you know, what I would really say is any risks that you would normally take in Minecraft, maybe level it up just a little bit more once you have that netherite armor, because you know that you're going to be much safer, at least, you know, realistically you will. Now I think I heard, I might not have, but I think I heard a wither skeleton. Sounded like it. We're going to take a look around here, see if there is one, or if it's a fake wither skeleton. Yeah, I did hear one. I heard that. That was definitely a wither skeleton. So the question is, where is it? It could be above us, beneath us, really anywhere. We have to be careful too, because of course if we sort of misidentify where it is, then we could have an issue with it hitting us from behind. So we're going to look around here. But I did hear it, so we're going to go back to that area. We're going to try and find that, and we were going to do that. And of course here we have some more of the blaze here. You'll notice there again I got hurt. It wasn't from fire, that's one of those melee attacks. The thing that the fire resistance potion does not help. Now, I did hear the wither skeletons for sure. I heard it twice. So it's got to be right around here. I'm going to say fairly close. Again, right here. One thing I noticed is that the shield does not activate like instantly. You know, like once you right click, you have like maybe a half-second cooldown. I'm not sure the exact time it is, to be honest. But I've noticed if I don't sort of activate it quick enough, then actually I will not get the projectiles blocked. So like once you sort of feel like you're almost going to get hit by something, even put up the shield a minute or two early. Well, not a minute or two, but a second or two. We're sort of on a time scale of seconds at this stage, but you know, a little bit early, and you can have a bit of a benefit from that. Now, of course, I'm slowly dying, I guess. In this scenario, I mean, something I would do if I had more elytra durability, which I just don't. Okay, I totally heard a wither skeleton. That's something I would do if I had more elytra durability, is sort of to fly away and then fly back. That's a really good trick. I say that trick a lot because it's just a great one, and it's that, yeah, if you sort of fly away from a certain area and then head back to it, you can give areas more time for mobs to spawn. So we're going to walk over here. We're going to see if we can get some things to spawn at those junctions. It's sort of those cross sections of the fortress that tend to spawn in the most mobs. So for instance, I don't even know if this ends here. I thought it did, but I think there's just plants in front of it. This might go further. It doesn't. Sort of like ends into the actual mushrooms here, which is sort of a natural transition, I guess. That's kind of nice. But if we go over here, we might even just wait for like a second here. Give it a minute. Let's try reading a comment and we'll let a mob have a chance to spawn. And someone says, did you know that you can turn your diamond armor into netherite by jumping into lava? Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, what player doesn't know that fact? It's very well known. And in fact, it's the best thing is if you just fill your inventory with elytra and enchanted golden apples, and maybe even to, you know, get rid of any fire resistance potions you might have. You just want to really let yourself kind of simmer and cook that armor right into netherite and lava. Of course, that's not true. And I'm only saying that because there are people that rightfully believe my Minecraft advice, but it is kind of funny to, you know, say things like that. We'll go over here and totally, man, I'm getting driven insane because I can hear these wither skeletons there. It's like it's kind of trying to trick me psychologically. Look at this, it's ridiculous. See, I can like, I don't know if everyone else is hearing those sound effects, but I am for sure. Oh wait a minute, there's the other pathway. There's a skeleton. So I get normal skeletons, I don't get wither skeletons. What is this luck? Ridiculous. I know the chance of the normal skeletons is fairly low. It's not that low, but it's... I don't think that was since the beginning either. I think it was more recent. Oh, here's a wither skeleton. I don't think that was the one I was hearing, but whatever. There we go. We're going to get this one. And there is no school. Look at this. It's ridiculous. And we now have over a stack of the blaze rods. Now this is kind of dangerous. Let's go on the edge here. Start throwing away some stuff we don't need. I really do not usually tell people to throw things away, but in this scenario, we're just getting so low on inventory space. We want to make sure we have that, because the worst thing is if you have low inventory room, what can happen is you can get that skull and it can fall into lava, because if, let's say, you're killing a wither skeleton at the edge of something, which often happens, then you can have an issue where basically it'll kind of fall off. Now I see a whole bunch of wither skeletons there, which is perfect. Of course, I was also just set on fire, which is slightly less perfect. And let's just block this up right here. And we have three, look at that, 3 wither skeletons. And we're going to try and get them all, which I don't think we can. That's fine. We'll do a crit there. No skull. Decently high chance of a skull here. No, I know, of course, we have a much higher percentage as well because we have looting. Let's see what we can do here. No skull there. Maybe this one will drop a skull. If, of course, it does, we'll go on to defeating the wither. There is no skull. Unfortunately, we got our first one really quick, and this one is going to take a lot longer, but that's sort of random chance, isn't it? I mean, it wouldn't be random at all if we got them too quickly, and I suppose that wouldn't match with Minecraft's game mechanics. But I cannot stop hearing wither skeletons around this area. Now, it might be that there's a section below us we can't see. That could definitely be the case. But even as you saw right there, they kind of spawned over there, but they didn't until we were in this section. Now, something you'll notice is this is a warped forest, which it does technically have that fact of less mobs spawning here. So potentially, if we sort of get over here, again, wait for a minute, we might have the same luck of more mobs spawning over there, sort of forcing them to spawn because they can't really spawn here. That's the idea anyway. Someone said, why am I using iron tools? Great question, and that's because, not because I don't have diamond ones, but earlier in the stream, I switched to iron just on a couple. If you notice this sword, actually, we have some great stuff, like the sharpness 5, looting 3, sweeping edge 3, unbreaking 3. Our armor is really great. It's mostly because we just want to make sure that if we do die, you know, small chance, but always good to be careful, we'll lose as little as possible. You always want to sort of reduce the amount of things you could potentially lose when going to the nether. If I had, honestly, like an unbreaking 3 mending, fully durability elytra, I probably wouldn't have even done that. But it's always just good that sort of, if you have to, you can give yourself a little bit more leeway in case, you know, of course, we do die here. We're not going to be just completely losing everything we own, because we're still at that stage in the game where, like, you know, our inventory items are like everything, you know. We don't really have like backups of almost anything here. So we're gonna go back to the normal area, see if we can get lucky there, and potentially just explore around a little bit more. Someone said, do I have a favorite nether song? Yes, I probably the Chrysiopoeia, or however you say it. It's the Lena Rain one. I could probably play it, actually. It's kind of dumb. I always play the overworld and nether songs in the overworld, but now I'm not even giving here. Let's get a nether song on. Why not? That sounds like a good idea. I'll just try and find one on my list. I have all the Minecraft songs sort of on a playlist here. That's how I have the background music, and let's see if I can find. I think this is the one I like. Yeah, there we go. We'll play that one. That took a second. And yeah, in terms of also like the old songs versus, I think it's playing, the old ones versus the new songs. You know, there's sort of the old nether songs, there's the new nether songs, and I like them both. But I found that, to me, the old songs sound just mostly like background sort of sound effects almost. I mean, there's something to them. There's, you know, a couple useful things, but it's mostly just some sound effects. And this blaze here has decided to, of course, engulf me in flames, because it itself is engulfed in flames. And there we go. It did drop a blaze rod. I guess we'll have to go grab it. And there is a baby magma cube, and I really don't want to get it, but we're going to see. Now, we did not get anything. I don't actually think you can get a, no, I think there is a way of getting a magma cream from a tiny blaze, I think. It might not actually be true, because I know I almost never get them from there. I haven't done a lot of research into magma cubes lately, but I do believe that you can't actually get it from the baby one. So I guess we unfortunately fought that mob without any use. But we're going to go over here sort of explore these long hallways. This is a good way of finding items. And we can kind of see what we can find. And someone said their favorite Nether song is Pig Step. Well, I wasn't thinking of the music discs. I suppose if you include that one, Pig Step is probably my favorite. But of course, if we're talking about the background music songs, probably the one I have playing right now. There's also another one by Lena Raine. I definitely like, just to be honest, I like Lena Raine's Nether songs. I'm not sure if more than C418's, but kind of more in a sense. Because I feel like they're more songs. They're, you know, like a true song. They're not really mostly a collection of background music, but you know, there's something to the other Nether songs, and I think I like, you know, overall I'd probably say I prefer C418's music to Lena Raine's, although they're both great, and I have nothing against either. I think that, you know, I think Minecraft's done an exceptional job actually of picking the sort of good composers to make the game have a really fitting and interesting soundtrack. So there's that, and I hear, again, always around here, I hear the wither skeletons. Like, I totally hear it. It's not fake. So there's got to be a small area I can't see around here that has them. It's so interesting. So we can find something here. We have all the Endermen, of course, which should be rarer than the wither skeletons, but no. Of course we have those. I guess that's just the way it works. And this is really not a very good Nether fortress for getting the withers. If you're wanting to know, actually, like, how do I find wither skeletons, you know, not be running into the issue that Eyecraft is right now, it would be get yourself a Soul Sand Valley Nether Fortress. It is so important. I cannot understate how important it is, especially for a long-term world. You know, you may not need everything immediately, but I believe the number of mobs it has that spawns is about 3 times more, and that's just because of, you know, there's not as many places for them to spawn in general. Now I see a sword here. You can see out of the corner of my eye, and I actually see another one there in the distance. So if we're careful, we can get like a bunch of wither skeletons right here. Like there's these ones here. They can also not, they also don't die in lava, so you have to be really careful here because they're, kill them both at once. But they can have their skull fall into lava, which is unfortunate, of course. I think I saw another one over here. Yes, I did. Yeah, you sort of look out of the corner of your eyes with these mostly, but you know, there we go. I guess the corner of my eye, really. Alright, that almost looked like it dropped a skull, but I can't really, Yeah, it didn't though. It looked like it. Sometimes there's still little sort of pieces of generation that are kind of, or like little particle effects that look a bit square. Here's one. Again, if there's none around it, there should be. So a little careful here. See if we get it. Oh, we did! Yes, there we go. That's awesome. See, I had a feeling we would. You know, I don't know how to describe it. None of you ever had this happen to you. But sometimes, especially with random chance things, you know, you kind of are like, oh yeah, I'll win. You know, like you kind of hope you'll win, right? And you kind of think you'll win. But then there's like certain times you're just like, just a strange feeling, you're just like guaranteed I'll get something. And I didn't really get it there. But I have, oh, there's a magma cube. But I have had that happen sometimes with Minecraft random chance where it's like, you know, super rare thing. It's like, I bet this rare thing will happen. It happens. And you're like, what was that about? It's almost like, what I wonder if what it actually is like, if it's like our brains sort of subconsciously calculate the random, like how the random number generator works. And just like, not like directly, but sort of indirectly. And then from there, it just kind of like has a pretty good way of guessing if something will happen. Like, that's probably looking into it too much. But I do wonder if some of these things, it's like, how can you actually like guess that something will happen before it does? It's kind of interesting. It's like a sixth sense thing, I guess. We'll go over here though. This is the way back. We do now have 2 skulls. If you're wondering why, well, 2's not enough, right? Well, we do have a 3rd one at our base. We also have some soul sand at our base. We're going to defeat it in the strip mine method, even though it's boring. It's just the easiest, and you know, easy is good when we don't have the best items or armor. We could do the end dimension method. If you're sort of wondering, like, what are the methods for defeating a wither, you know, because it's kind of very important to know, really. I mean, I have a couple videos on how to defeat the wither. I have an older one and I have a newer one where I kind of split it into 2 parts to cover it in more detail. But more or less, there are 3 main methods. There's the end, the sort of you spawn it in the middle of the end and you try and defeat it. They're not really the best idea, honestly, but you can. It just tends to kind of fly up very high, so it doesn't always work that well. And then there is the method of underneath the end portal. That one will instantly kill it. And then of course there is the method of the strip mine method. That's what I'll be doing here. You can also just like spawn it in the overworld or in the nether, just somewhere random, and see what happens. I have done that before. If you're going to do that, I would suggest the nether, just because of course it's a lot less dangerous, but the problem is that wither's nether star can burn, and so if you're not careful, it can go over a lava lake, and you just have to kill it in such a way where that star is going to burn no matter what. So always good to be aware of that, but it's super awesome that we got that second skull. And now we can go over here and we can summon in the wither, defeat the wither, get a beacon. I think probably that was a lot quicker than I thought, honestly. But in a sense too, I guess it took a bit longer because we had to defeat all that, mostly due to the fact that we had the the looting 3 sword, of course. And let's see if this is actually connected correctly, because I've been getting driven insane that this always goes to this stupid cave beneath my base. And it didn't that time. That's awesome. It actually did connect correctly. So hopefully we finally fixed that issue. And we just had a super sticker from Dirtbag. It says, "You're amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate the support a lot." And we actually now have a singular magma cream, so we can have an emergency supply of fire resistance, which is a little bit useless to be honest, but there we go. And I guess we'll put that in there. We need some glass bottles if we have some. We don't actually. We're gonna have to get some. We could drink these potions and make it from there. We could make it later. We have a second super sticker from Dirtbag that has an excited Sheba, so thank you for that. And we have a third super chat from Lucas. I'll just say Lucas so I don't mispronounce your last name. But it is a super chat for $50, and it says, "Wow, third wither skull took me like 2 hours even with looting 3. Yeah, we did do it pretty quickly, which is nice. I think a lot of the trick was honestly moving around in the fortress, and I talked about it a bit, but it's really about you want to kind of maximize how much of the fortress is over 20 blocks away from yourself, and then use that space to sort of force the game to spawn in mobs. So we did it somewhat. It's a lot easier with a elytra, and we do have elytra, but we don't of course have much durability on there because we don't have mending yet. Either way, we have 3 wither skeleton skulls, and we have soul sand, and we're going to grab ourselves 4 soul sand. And we're going to sort of transition from the mode of raiding the nether to now defeating the wither. And someone says my shield is about dead. I will switch that out. That is a very good point. Alright, so here's just another sort of way of thinking about how crazy fortune is. Almost a stack and a half of bones. We have 49 coal, and that is all wither skeleton coal, which is good because we're low on coal anyway. We have a little bit of leather and food. Put that there. Something I want to hopefully cover in a video soon is the hoglin farms. So hoglin farms, I've not seen covered much. I saw people talk about them in the nether update, but that was about it. And it seems like people just sort of forgot about them, but they're probably like one of the most powerful farms in the entire game, and I want to look into them a bit more and discuss them in a future video, because I think that, you know, getting efficient sources of food is such an important part of survival Minecraft, so I want to cover that. Alright here, so we have some useless things like the stone sword. We may as well throw it in there. We did not end up piglin trading, so we'll put our gold items back with the gold helmet. We have some torches, elytra, arrows. So in terms of what do you want if you're going to defeat the wither, you want to have about a stack of arrows. You don't even need that many, but there it is. This is also defeating the wither in the cave method, or the strip mine method, which does work in bedrock as well, but you just want to be careful, more careful in bedrock if you're doing it, but still it's fairly easy in bedrock. It is nighttime. We're actually going to stay up so we can get some phantom membranes later. And look at that, we have a stack and a half of the blaze rods, which is completely insane. We'll put that in the nether chest for now, if we can. Someone said to use barrels instead of chests because they help lag. Help it not lag, of course. That would help, although technically the sort of difference it would make is very minimal. It's actually similar to hoppers that way. I know a lot of people complain about hoppers causing lag, but it's more so if you have a huge amount of hoppers. Even same with things like hopper minecarts. I know a while ago I made a sugarcane farm tutorial. I still really like that farm, and a lot of people liked it. A lot of people also disliked it because they said that the hopper minecart in it would just 100%, you know, cause your world to lag. But you know, if you have a singular hopper minecart, it's going to lag your world about as much as like 2 or 3 cows in a cow farm. So you know, in most scenarios, just about kind of really to what level you have something. So for instance here, all these, you know, we could probably have 1,000 chests, and that might lag our world, but even then it's sort of, you know, you have to have just such a huge volume of things to really cause significant lag. But anyway, I keep yawning for whatever reason, I have no idea why. But we'll go over here, and we have regeneration 2, so look at our potions here. We will grab a regeneration 2, because why not? But generally what we want to do is you want to have strength, and you want to have that regeneration. Very important to have both. So we're going to probably not, just because we don't need to. We could bring a totem. We may as well do that, might be kind of fun. Well, I don't think we're going to use it. And then anything else we'll need, we don't need much. Now something you can do, if you want, we kind of have the wither early. It's a little early to have the wither, I would say, but that's okay. If you're more later game, something you probably want to do is get a whole bunch of buckets of fish, and use those buckets of fish to get yourself the wither roses from those buckets of fish, because any mob that's killed, even fish, will drop the wither rose. And so we have that. And also welcome to Christian Loafer for the joining the iSquad. And of course the iSquad is my channel memberships there, which make the streams and the videos really much more fun in the comments section. Alright, I think we're honestly probably good. I mean, this is definitely not fully prepared, but I don't see too much of things we need. We don't really have any fish buckets or things we could easily get a wither rose from. We could technically bring in a lay, but you know, that's not a good idea at all. So I think we're good. So what we're going to do, we do also want some torches. That's really important. People forget about that one a lot. I do myself, is you want to have torches. But we're going to go this way. We're going to go down the ladder. We're going to kind of do our amazing, I love this fall so much. It's so fun. I'm going to kind of, you know, do a couple ladder checks here just to be careful. We're going to go all the way to the bottom. And then we want to be sort of aware to not go into where the deep dark is, because if we have like a cave above us and then the wither like blasts into that, then it is not going to be good. So we're going to do this directly underneath our base. It sounds stupid, but really you'll be shocked by how little damage this causes. We're just going to switch this to our torches, and we're going to kind of mine this way. And thank you to another super chat, and it is from Christian Loafer as well, and it says the best Minecraft YouTuber Fascio, you might mean for sure, or something else, I'm not sure, or maybe fashion, but oh, there's lava right there, look at that. Can you believe it? I can, but there we go. Alright, we're going to mine this direction then, but thank you for the super chat a lot. And someone asks, what are wither roses used for? That's a great question. Decoration, being turned into black dye, and also, if you're on top of a wither rose, you'll be given the wither effect. So basically, what that means is that it is perfect for farms. You can use it for a lot of farms, and of course black dye also. There's only 2 ways of getting black dye. The first one is from squids. The second one is from, of course, the wither rose, and the wither rose way of getting black dye is really new too. So, well, new comparatively. Look, we just found diamonds. We didn't even mean to, but I mean, there we go. That's perfect, I guess. Let's see how many diamonds it is. We may as well just have our wither killing station here. A little close, honestly. Might go a little further, but look at that. We have lucky diamonds. That's pretty cool. Very pog. And we'll go this direction. And, yeah, but generally it is just for black dye farms usually, or you can use it for different other methods. It's kind of a cool spooky item. Good for, like, Halloween decorations. I know right now it's kind of the wrong time for that. It's like, whatever, almost a month after, but, you know, that kind of thing. I hear lava, that could be close, but we're probably good. So we're gonna dig out an area here. So the idea is, step 1, you want to dig sort of a small strip mine tunnel, and then you want to dig an area at the front of it. And we'll just kind of dig that out like decently. There is some lava. Always be careful of lava. I'm not sure if that's a lava lake. It looks like it is. That's annoying. We can dig it a little bit in front of it. It can actually be next to lava. It's fine. We just want it to be like not super close. So we should be okay if we do it right here, because it's going to blow up, but like the wither is going to go our direction anyway a bit. So we should be okay. And also, if anyone's wondering, I am in hard mode. So the wither is more difficult in the hard mode. It's actually surprising how little hard mode changes the game's true difficulty, but it does technically make it more difficult. So of course, good to be aware of that. And just put a block there. No torches to keep being burnt up. So anyway, we basically have our space mined out here. What you want to do then is you want to get your inventory set up, get rid of like anything useless, get, you know, your bow there, your food there. Generally, I would suggest better food, but again, it's way too easy, this method. We want to almost fully build the wither. So we want to basically put the main structure, and we want to put 2 of the 3 heads. So we'll put 2 heads, leave the 3rd one for now. And then you want to get your potion. We'll drink the potion in just a second here. If we need to, of course. We might not even need it. And then kind of want to go the other direction for a bit and sort of like see how far you can go. We can go pretty far, so we're good. And so yeah, we're going to summon it in and go from there. And the idea would be that we put in the 3rd skull, so we're going to have the wither, right? So get ready for this, everyone. It'll be about 10 seconds we'll get the wither here. But for you to encourage me in the chat as we defeat the wither in this world. See, it's funny because I have to kind of... it is a big deal. Although it's so easy to do it this method, it doesn't feel like it. Ah, there's lava. Okay. There we go. To block up the lava. But anyway, it is kind of a big deal. It's just obviously, you know, inside of... with this method, it's just way too easy to do. So, you know, but it's still a big deal. And we're going to get rid of this. But everyone be excited for that. Someone says, do I also stream on Twitch? I do not. I could. I could like restream this to there. But I do not currently stream on Twitch. However, I do have a Twitch if you want to follow that in the description. Now, actually, what we'll do is, so we're going to put the wither skull. And we're going to summon in the wither. And that's going to be amazing. So we're going to... let's see here. Okay. So what we're going to do... we're going to put the last wither skull down. And summon... oh, that's the wrong position. Oh boy, I'm not that bad at the game. Okay, let's put it here. There we go, there is the wither. So once it's summoned in, there it is. You can see it's getting bigger and bigger, very dangerous. We want to... you can actually push it, it's kind of funny. We want to go away from it so we don't die. We want to kind of get pretty decently far away. We're going to drink that regen. Now we're just going to start hitting it with our bow. Look at it, it's like almost completely still. This is so easy. Slowly breaking its way towards us. This is probably really loud. Let me just quickly turn down the volume so we do not all go completely deaf from that. And we are going to just hit it. As you can see, decent amount of damage. We don't really have power, so it's not a lot, but we're just going to keep hitting it, getting it down lower. It's not a big deal, honestly. You can see it just keeps going closer and closer, hitting that. As it gets, you know, we'll eventually run out of tunnel length, so we want to be kind of aware of that. We might just start hitting it. It's actually breaking, the gravel breaking is actually a big issue. So hopefully we'll be okay there. There's the wither. Oh, we just got hit, so you have to be, once you're hit, you do want to be careful, because then you're going to start losing your health like fairly quick. So we're going to be okay here, but we want to be kind of aware of that. Now we're going to have to keep putting up the torches here. We also, this is not really ideal what's happening right now, just because the gravel was there. So maybe check for gravel. That could be a sort of good tip. You'll notice its health is slowly regenerating, sort of like the Ender Dragon. So you want to be aware of that. And kind of, yeah, it's honestly not that much better to do the sword at this stage. So we'll just hit that a couple times, head back in the tunnel. Our tunnel probably could have been a little bit longer, but again, we should be okay. I actually just covered some diamonds up there, which is kind of cool. So I feel like this is so stupid. I'm just gonna put some torches down here just so we can see better. You can see it's like it's really not triggering it, like getting triggered to follow us that much if it can't like see us directly. Definitely more difficult in Bedrock. Guarantee you that. You'll notice the wither effect is wither 2 and it's for a very long duration, so you have to be aware of that. But its hitbox too is really big, so kind of have more time. Get it sort of stuck up there now, which is unfortunate. Definitely not what we want to have happen, but it is what happened. We're going to get kind of let the wither effect run out here, and then we're going to go for a couple hits there. You can sort of like do this a little bit more strategically, so we can use the sword there. But yeah, generally it was doing what it did at the start, where it stays in front of the tunnel. So now we can hit it a bit more. We're kind of closer to it. We're going to get back in the tunnel here, because you know it's so hard actually to see how much HP you have. You want to be really careful with that. And let me just put my totem in my offhand. I don't think I'm going to need it, honestly, but there we go. We'll try and hit it a bit more with the bow. And there we go. And we'll try again. There we go. Should be decently easy. Again, we're obviously getting our Health is a little low now. We're going to keep eating some food. Did not realize it'd be this difficult because it usually doesn't get kind of trapped up there. But again, if things get worse, we also don't want to get too far this direction because it's going to get to our elevator soon. So I did not realize. So, you know, you can always make these tunnels longer. This isn't really a disaster, but obviously it is good to be aware of that. And oh, there it is. Okay, so it's right there. So it's kind of getting lower. That's what we wanted, actually. But let me try and hit it again. Its HP is getting higher and higher, so I think our best bet is to probably, it's with the totem there, to go up to it and hit it directly. Not usually good to do this, but honestly we're okay. Do not do this in Bedrock, but in Java we're okay to do this. Alright, you can see now it has that effect. We're going to hide away for a second now. You notice it has the effect. It can regenerate past that effect again, but basically that means it's halfway killed. So we're going to just, yeah, definitely some better food would be good here, like golden carrots or something. Eat a little bit more. We should be good again. We have that totem. Again, like we should not even really need a totem when you're fighting this. Now we're getting really hurt, so we're just going to head back into here, sort of hide away for a second. We have about 4 hearts of damage, or 4 hearts of health left. It's hard to see that because we have the wither effect, of course, but I've actually had times where I'll defeat the wither, and after I've defeated it, then I'll die from the wither effect. So we just have to be aware of that, of course. We could also use some water to sort of stop it from dying. A milk bucket actually is a great idea. It's something we probably should have brought. So like right here, could have drunk that milk bucket. And also welcome to Kaiti for joining the iSquad. We're going to eat that. And we have wither one more second. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to regenerate. And we're going to basically just go in for the kill. We're just going to fight until we're down to like 3 hearts. Because we do have that totem. I'm not really worried if we use it. I mean, later on we can get a lot more. So we're going to eat one more. Because you can notice its health is regenerating fairly quickly. So we're going to basically hit it with the bow. If we can. There we go. We want to not get hit by this. So, okay, we got hit. So we just have the effect now. Let's just go for it. I'm just going to look at our health bar there really carefully. So you can notice here we can get it down really quick. Just keep hitting it. There we go. We may not be able to get down in time. Getting pretty low there. So is the wither. Eat some more food. There, now it's exactly what we want right in front of here. That's exactly what we wanted before, is we want it to sort of be where we can hit it, but it can't hit us. So look, this is exactly what we wanted. We're getting super low. Who will die first, us or the wither? Let's find out. And we got it. The wither died first. There we go. So that is how you defeat the wither. That was definitely a bit of a failed run, but I mean, we did get it. We have the wither defeated, so spam in the chat. Because the wither is defeated, and it's time to be excited about that because we can now get a beacon, and we are on 2 hearts, and we have wither for another 10 seconds. But look at that, we've defeated the wither. We have diamonds that are even exposed. If we want some more diamonds, I guess we get them here. Again, health is on literally 1.5 hearts. Finally, it's regenerating now, but there we go. And yeah, that was a pretty good wither fight. You know, obviously a little bit more challenging, but it's interesting to show that challenge on stream, of course. Definitely, you know, the sort of issue you get with that you saw, and this is what the issues tend to be, is that the wither will more or less sort of be able to regenerate faster than you can, so you can have an issue with that. We're just going to throw away a couple items temporarily so we can mine that, and we have 2 super chats, and they are from Kristen Loafer. So thank you so much, $10. It says, yeah, so thank you for that. And also we have a super sticker. It says super effective from Lucas there. So thank you so much to that as well. I really appreciate all the support, and it's such a great way of directly supporting the channel. And these streams are such a fun opportunity to just connect with the viewers, and it's so cool to defeat these things live. I mean, you know, I've watched a lot of Minecraft YouTubers where they'll just show everything in creative, but here to actually, you know, risk it all, do it in survival on stream, no edit, no anything, you know, kind of shows that, you know, these are real situations. This is how things, you know, nothing goes perfectly, and there's always little issues, but we can deal with those issues and learn even better how to play the game. So I'm going to put all my blocks in here. I want to keep these blocks because we're going to need them later for building. Let's put that all away. Let's grab all these. I mean, something I've seen people do, it's really risky, but I have seen it, is they'll actually use withers to mine. And it does work. It's a little bit ineffective because they destroy a lot of stuff, but I guess so does TNT, to be fair. And yeah, you can basically use that to get yourself a whole lot of blocks. Like even here we have a little bit of redstone exposed. Not that we need it, but there it is. So we can mine that. And only an hour and 15 minutes into the stream, we have already gotten that nether star. So of course, you know, we're gonna have to mine some things. There's all kinds of other things, but it's absolutely awesome. If you're just joining the stream now, we of course just defeated the Wither, which is amazing. And as well as that, we had got the Wither skeleton skulls for it, or at least 2 of them on the stream. We're now going to continue on and get a fully powered perfect beacon. Definitely on the stream. That's going to be the goal, is fully powered beacon on stream before it's done. So we're going to do that. And let's eat some more food so we don't, you know, die of something silly because our XP is so low. Something interesting is the Wither doesn't actually give a lot of XP, because I was at level 30 before I killed it. Now after we're at level 32. At level 30 also, I guess. Say it like that or it sounds incorrect. I was getting pretty close to this. Probably should not have done it that close, but that's okay. Generally though, yeah, I do want to tend to have like a really nice long, maybe 50, 60, 70, 80 block. That's a lot of ranges of numbers, but you know, probably 80 to 100 block. Strip mine tunnel, spawn it at the end there, and just defeat it. But there we go. And I'm just going to go over here, and we actually have another super chat. From Dirtbag, and it says, a truly amazing display of combat skills and internal fortitude. Well, I'm not sure if it was that good, but thank you. And definitely could have been a bit better. It's always good to see those issues and use them as a way to improve. You know, failing is a good thing because it shows us how to do things better in the future. And we didn't fail there, but we definitely did see an issue, which is very important to check for gravel around where you are, because just that little bit of gravel there almost threw off the entire kill. So super important to sort of be adaptable. And that's one of the reasons why I did, for instance, have the totem, even though I was like, well, I don't need it, is because it's important to prepare for situations that, you know, you are not aware of if they might happen, right? Like, you know, we didn't think it would escape, but it did. And so because of that, having that totem is the perfect way to sort of prepare for alternative situations. And you know, that applies to every stage of the game. Let's say you're really early game, and you're just going to bring a stone sword with you because you don't think you'll run into a mob. Maybe just bring that iron sword. You know, always good to just give yourself a little bit extra caution, a little bit of extra sort of opportunity to potentially live. And here's something that's going to drive everyone insane. Who is saying we're not going down the ladder right now, right? Forget the torches. We could be going down, right? That's what I love about Minecraft, is there's not really any perspective tool for us in most areas. So like, just look at this, like we're going down the ladder, right? Yeah, we're going down. Like there's a, you know, hole at the bottom there, and we're kind of getting closer and closer to the bottom of the ladder. Those torches look funny, but who cares? So it's so funny. It's like, there's like, even if you look upwards, it's like, you know, obviously this way we can kind of, you know, we're going down the ladder, right? Like we're getting lower and lower. That's the top of it. We're getting lower, right? It's like, no, that's not what's happening, but it's crazy because like you can literally make it look like that if you just sort of trick your brain into thinking it, because like all of our perspective is based off of kind of our knowledge of the situation. It's really strange to think about. But either way, there is another star. I'm not going to sleep again so we can get those phantom membranes. But there we go. And look at this. We have, thank you so much to Lucas, gifted 20 Eyecraftmc memberships. That is super awesome. So 20 random people in the chat as we speak. Actually, I shouldn't be sleeping. But 20 random people in the chat as we speak are joining the Ice Squad, which is super cool. So thank you so much to all the super chatters, Lucas and Dirtbag and everyone else for making the stream awesome, because as many people are in the Ice Squad, of course, we have more and more opportunities for people to use those emotes and interact, and there's even some community posts and stuff where you can sort of talk with the most largest Eyecraftmc fans with all the different things that you think about my videos. But either way, let's put away the little things we did find. I guess we put them in here, I guess. I feel like we had more items we picked up, but maybe not. But there we have it. I don't actually know if we'll have room to place these somewhere. I guess we kind of do, so we'll do that. We can see the ones that we dug out, and the ones that we didn't. I hear a baby zombie out there. I'm sure it's going to burn up soon. And it's so cool to hear all the people joining the Ice Squad there, which of course is my memberships. And we'll go over here, grab the flint, put our flint away, and we're going to put all of our ores away. Let's see on stream how many diamonds we get, maybe from the diamond ore. That's always exciting, right? And we have 4 diamond ore, fortune 3. Let's see what we get. I'll start with the redstone. We'll mine through there, and then we're going to mine these 4 diamond ore. So we have 6 diamonds currently. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And so we had 6. So from 4 we got 9. So that's a little bit over 1 diamond or 2 diamonds per ore, which is a little bit above average, so that's pretty cool. But either way, now 15 more diamonds, which we only had 30 before, so that's like 50% more, which is awesome. And we, of course, actually have a random glass bottle from that potion, so we could use that to brew the fire resistance. But of course, always when you're brewing potions, you want to have 3 bottles, or it just makes 0 sense any other way. And we're going to take a look for the items we need to craft the beacon, because we need a beacon, of course. We want a beacon. That's the reason why we defeated the Wither there. And so a beacon is crafted with, of course, another star being the most difficult part. There are other ingredients. And we do have them. So we need 3 obsidian, and we need 5 glass. Say 6 glass, but no, it's 5 glass. We might not actually have the glass. Look at that, the easiest part of the beacon. We have the obsidian, we have the nether star. We do not have the glass. That's so interesting. Well, we do have the elytra. I wonder if there's a river nearby, because sand is only in rivers or oceans or deserts or biomes like that. So, you know, we couldn't just find it in a lake somewhere. There's no sand that naturally spawns, like, let's say, gravel would. So we need to find ourselves the rest of that. So we're going to take a look around and potentially find a river of some sort. Now we do have the elytra, of course. We might have some glass somewhere else, but I don't think we do. We really don't have any sand. It's so funny. It's like a world this long term. Sand is the thing that we don't have. It's not, you know, something else. It's sand. We're going to use the elytra. We'll fly back to spawn, I guess. It's pretty close. We kind of have a guarantee of things at spawn. So spawn is this direction. So we're going to fly there really quick. We do have, of course, some elytra durability. We're going to try and fly as quickly as possible so we do not use up too much. We'll get that sand, and then we're going to start mining out iron, try and get the material. So there's a river already. We're just going to dive right into there and then just take off the elytra to use as little as possible. It's always fun, actually, if you can risk it, to take off elytra midair and sort of fall down. But here is the sand. We won't grab too much. We don't want to make it look ugly, but we'll grab enough. Maybe like a stack or 2, because we didn't even have enough sand for bottles earlier to make some fire resistance. So we'll mine this. Funny, you probably know this already, but it's interesting to think about, is the fact that you mine things slower underwater. So for instance, right here we are mining things. We can insta-mine them if we're on the side of the shore, like this, right? Instantly mined. But down here, we actually have to do the full sort of mining animation interaction thing, because we just have that slower speed. So it's not quite as fast as above the water. And there's, of course, advancements. There's, of course, enchantments like Aqua Affinity that can help your mine speed of things like sand. But in general, it's just best to mine things if you're above water, unless you, of course, have to do something underground. That doesn't look too bad, right? Like as a sort of area that's still there. Destroy the land too much. We'll get the rest of the sand here because we do need it. We just need a couple more to get 2 stacks there. I would do 3 stacks, but I think that 2 is probably enough. We'll just kind of break the... I guess I have to sort of mess around with this for it to combine, right? That should be combining, actually. If we place a block and break it, I think that should be... Oh no, it's because there's blocks under here, I see. There we go. We'll get the drowned here too. Nothing it can give us of use, but we'll get that drowned. We have 59 sand. We need 5 more, which there's 5 right here, so that's perfect. And that is all of our sand. So we're going to use our elytra and our fireworks to go right back to the spawn. In fact, what we'll do is, before we craft the beacon, let's actually go to that stony peaks and let's start mining out some iron, because we're going to need that no matter what. So we're going to kind of fly this direction and go to that stony peaks, and I don't think it's the one right in front of us, but that is a stony peaks, and all we need the stony peaks for is some iron. So if we're careful, we don't destroy too much elytra durability, we should be able to just fly over here, land quickly, take off that elytra, put on... I guess we can keep it on, but we want to be careful not to use it unnecessarily, and then we can start mining out some iron. So I don't actually know how much iron we need. We're going to start mining out a bit while we're here, and then we'll head back to our base. Just sort of like a stop on the way there, so we, don't waste any of the durability on our elytra, of course. In this direction, you can see there's that kind of flat mountain. So we want to build our base on that flat mountain. That's the plan. That's why we have a beacon. We want to have a base on there, and we need to flatten it out with the beacon, because we need that haste mining ability, And we do have decent pickaxes. We just, again, need to have the haste. And we might also need to invest in some better pickaxes as well to be able to do the instant mining. But of course, the beacon is the most difficult part. So you can see just so much iron on these stone peaks. And actually, if you're wanting to know in Minecraft, how do you get coal? How do you get iron in Minecraft 1.18 or 1.19 or eventually 1.20? You know, it's a big question because it spawns so much differently. 100%, if you have stony peaks nearby, that is the biome to go to because there is so much of the coal and so much of the iron. It actually makes it probably my favorite biome of all the new mountain biomes, potentially. Definitely not in terms of visuals, but just in terms of its utility, it's just huge. And, you know, even things like the frozen peaks, it does have the packed ice, but really, I mean, packed ice isn't that important because you can get it so many other places already. But definitely the exposed iron and the exposed coal and even exposed emerald ore of the stony peaks makes it one of the best biomes for mining in the entire game. We're going to go through here and mine all this. And someone asks what the blue blocks in the boats are and what they do. Well, those are not blocks, those are actually mobs. Those are the allay. They're just sort of trapped in the boats there, so it looks like a block. But if you're wondering what the allay does, the allay is basically a mob that will collect blocks for you if you give it them. So it's not super useful, but as an example, I could give an allay a sand block. I could throw some over here. The allay will go with its sand block and be like, oh, here's some more. Grab those. I'm sort of role-playing the allay here. We're going to go this way, throw down those sand blocks at the player, and then sort of go and look for more. And so it'll basically always be in the lookout while flying around you for as many of the type of item that it gave you as it can find. And you can also use that with redstone and note blocks because there is a functionality with allays and note blocks. And you can have that be for more or less in automatic sorting systems that can do unstackable items. So for instance, you could sort out swords or shovels or iron armor or something. So there's lots of really cool opportunities there. We're just going to keep mining through all here, and we already have almost 3 stacks of iron, which does not sound like a lot, but it's a huge amount, because if you consider that, you know, that's 30% of an entire stack of iron blocks, then it's definitely already a really good bit of progress into here. Someone asks, how does sponge work? Interesting question. I've never covered sponge in a video directly, but sponge is a great item. Basically, in a radius around the sponge, if it is a dried sponge, it will grab all the water from that area instantly, basically like just making it disappear, and then it will turn into a wet sponge. The problem is, of course, in most areas, that water can just turn right back into water because there's water around it. They can sort of merge and turn into an infinite water source in the area. So to effectively use a sponge, you want to start by getting a gravity-affected block that's not hardened by water. So that would be sand, or that would be, let's say, gravel. And in fact, I think it can only be a couple because, of course, all the powdered concrete would be hardened. And then you want to section off little areas, and you want to start placing down sponges in those. Now, of course, once you have a wet sponge, well, what do you do with that? What you want to do with the wet sponge is you want to dry it. There's 2 methods of drying it, and they're both quite interesting. And actually, both have sort of Easter eggs with them. The first one is you can dry it in the furnace just by cooking it. The Easter egg is that if you have a bucket in the fuel slot of your furnace, and you can try this right now, it's really interesting. If you have that bucket, empty bucket, in the fuel slot of the furnace, as the sponge is cooking, once the sponge has sort of cooked or dried out and it goes into the other area as a dry sponge, your bucket will fill up with water, which is just a very interesting thing that can happen there. So you can sort of, I don't think it's useful at all, but it's kind of realistic. You can collect yourself the sponge's water there if you want in a single bucket. And then the other thing is you can just place them down in the nether and they're instantly dried. And I would almost always suggest doing the nether method. They are mined the fastest with a hoe. And there's your little mini lesson on how sponges work. I'm going to go through here, of course, and keep mining iron. Someone said get the emerald. I will. Of course, when you're mining emeralds, not trading for them, but mining them, you always want to mine them with Silk Touch, because they're really not that important at all if they don't have Silk Touch. After all, you know, emeralds from villagers are so easy. It's just a waste to mine them with anything but Silk Touch. In fact, if you find a lot of emeralds, especially, let's say, deep slate emeralds, before you have Silk Touch, I would mark down the coordinates and not even mine them, but mine them later, once you have that Silk Touch ability. Alright, we're looking kind of full here. We'll switch our sword, and we should be good. Let's go through here, and we will keep mining around the iron. And we're getting so many of this so quickly. If you look at it, actually, there is already, let's see, we have almost 6 stacks of the iron, which is just absolutely amazing how quick this is. Now, we do have Fortune 3, to be fair, but even early game, you'd still have almost half of that in this much time. It's just amazing how quickly you can get it. I've actually had some worlds I've played on where you spawn in a mountain biome, and basically what happens is by day 1, you have full iron armor, full iron tools. I mean, not even just by day 1, by like the first 5 minutes. And as long as you have some wood that you can, of course, use, you can just get so much stuff. And we're actually really getting full here. So we're going to have to place our bed down. We could do that. It's kind of random, but we need to not waste anything, of course. And we actually have to sleep anyway. Actually, we won't, because we need the phantoms. I'm so used to always sleeping. That's something I've really have sort of as a habit when I play Minecraft, is sleeping whenever it's night, and I found a lot of players don't. And so oftentimes inside of different multiplayer Minecraft scenarios, you'll have it be where everyone's trying to sleep, but then one player doesn't, or they don't have a bed because they're not used to sleeping. And so oftentimes because of that, people can die at night, and I found that one of the biggest causes of death in Minecraft is sleeping, or is not sleeping. It's not sleeping. Sleeping is not deadly at all in Minecraft, but of course not sleeping and not being aware of what's around you is so important to not have that happen. You want to be aware of everything. So we're going to mine that. That is now full. We're going to mine a little bit more iron, then we're going to fly back, not because we don't need any more, but just because our inventory is basically completely full. So we're just going to mine that with Fortune. We have 45. We're going to switch this around, and we are going to mine the rest of the iron we can find up to a stack, because it will be out of inventory room. Then we'll head back to our base fairly close, and then we'll go on collecting more iron if we need it. We may already have enough. I'm not sure. I haven't done a lot of sort of inventory check there, and we have 58. So we have 59, 60, 64, and there we go, 64 in one block. Perfect. Or 4 in one block. We're going to switch this. We're going to switch this. Our durability is really low. We can make it probably. We're going to fly this direction, I believe. There is our base on the hill. We're going to keep looking at that durability. 33, 32, 31. I do think it's seconds, unless you have Unbreaking 3. So I'm going to keep flying here. We're going to land just in time. We probably have like 18, 19 durability left. We have 23. But these are what those blue blocks where that person was talking about is, of course, the allays. So let's, I was going to sleep again. I'm so used to this. But what we're going to do now is we're actually going to set up a furnace. We need a furnace array of some sort, not an automatic one for now, just because we don't really have the time. We will make one soon, I think, an automatic furnace. But let's get our things sorted. You can see we found all kinds of good stuff. Very important to mine some coal at the same time as you're mining that iron. And the reason why is that you need something to smelt the iron with, of course. So if you don't have that, then you're going to have an issue. And you probably know this already as well, but you may not. You can actually craft furnaces with blackstone or cobbled deep slate or cobblestone. It does not have to just be cobblestone. So I'm going to grab these furnaces, place them down, get them smelting. We might just put them on the roof because I've never seen anyone do that. So that's kind of a unique thing to do, right? Always interesting to do something unique, even though if it's not the best way, it's still kind of fun. We'll put 16 and I'll put a full stack in there. You don't need much coal. We only need 8 coal per stack of material, but we'll put 16 so we don't have to reload it later. Again, we're going to fill all these full, just like that. And then like that, and here, we're out. So we might have some more in a chest, we may not. We have 14, that's not a lot, but throw them in there because why not? And put that there. Now we're going to take inventory of sort of how many materials we have and how much more we're going to need. So we need a lot more than I thought. We don't have a lot of stuff at all. We could do a mixed beacon, throw in our gold. We'll see how much gold we have total. That could be a good idea. Not a lot, so we're going to need more than we have for sure. Probably a lot of iron mining is going to do it for us, just kind of what we were doing before, but yeah, basically we could also mine for gold in the nether. That could work. Someone said, how old is the world in days? The world is 123. It is 123 right now as we speak in days. That is how old this world is, and like 99% of that has been live streamed, which is cool. So Let's see what we have here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 full stacks. This is not quite 3 stacks, so we'll probably need about another 15 stacks of raw iron. We'll bring a shulker box. Let's also unload what we have. We have the sand. May as well get the sand smelting. I guess we should probably switch out some items. We'll switch out the iron there for a minute to get ourselves 5 sand. Just sort of, you know, not always good to switch out items like that, kind of wastes, but it's not that important. Of course, we still have that nether star obsidian on us. Let's get our other items sort of put away here. This is somewhat sorted. I know people were saying it's pretty unsorted, and it is, but it's more sorted than it could be, so there's always that point. We'll put away the iron, and we have some gold. So we have our 3 glass, almost 5 glass, because the recipe, of course, is like this. And then we just need to have 2 more glass in the corners there. It's like there or whatever. And we have 1 more. Let's wait for the last one to smelt. And then we are going to craft a beacon, which is super exciting. And so we'll do that. And people are wondering what I'm doing. I'm making a beacon. So we are getting a beacon. We did defeat the Wither earlier on in the stream here. Feel free to watch it. And as you saw right there, I just made a beacon. And so we now have a beacon inside of this world, which is really, really cool. And what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to grab all the iron I currently have, and then all the iron inside of these, which is of course, you know, only a quarter of it smelted, but that's okay. We'll just keep, in fact, it's just finishing the smelt as we watch that happen. And we'll stop the, we'll switch, oh, I guess we'll have to go like this. Grab that, we'll let one of those smelt through so it's not a waste. And then we will switch this around. Again, probably still going to waste fuel, but that's okay. Just like that, there we go. And then we can just craft all these into blocks of iron. 29, that's not bad. Of course, we've got a lot more that's still there. And the idea is we're going to build the beacon. So we're not going to build it until we kind of know exactly where it's going. I do know where it is going to be going, but I want to sort of plan it out the exact area so I don't have to build it again. And let's take a look around here. Now we have the rest of the sand for now. We can probably just throw it in a chest somewhere, honestly. We'll move some of these blocks here down to here. And then we're going to put this into here like this, the sand for now. We have a super chat from Dirtbag, and it says, what are your plans for the future of these streams? Raiding ocean monuments and other things, building farms, trading whole everything. The plan is everything. We're going to try and go through the entirety of the game, every single part of it, every single section of it. No stone left unturned, or whatever the saying is. And I even want that to include, you know, very big things. So for instance, I want to build a mega base. That's going to be our plan actually somewhat soon here, is to start on the mega base. You know, we won't finish it all at once, but we'll kind of work on it as the series progresses. You know, we can also, of course, major exploration. We did do a woodland mansion already, right? So that's kind of a interesting thing. I definitely want to make like some big farms. We can look into, you know, I'm not sure if I can do a live farm tutorial. It might be a little bit too in-depth, but I can definitely build some farms on stream, and we can sort of discuss the mechanics of how they work, like how do different farms work. That's something that a lot of people don't talk about. They'll just show the actual tutorial, but no one realizes like what everything does. I do realize exactly how farms work, and so because of that I can design a farm, and I can also say like how I actually designed it, you know, have that sort of important info there, because once you know how a farm works, you can technically make your own farm, you know, a unique one. Although it's not always that important or useful to make your own farm, you can. And isn't it so cool looking with the moon there, and with the farm? Just love to take a screenshot, it's so good. But with the sort of, these soul lanterns almost look like the moon in a sense, don't they? It's beautiful to see the kind of contrast there. Nothing amazing in terms of the build, but it's a nice look. And I think that's something I would suggest to people watching right now, is maybe look into moon-centered builds having these soul lanterns. It seems to just match really well. I'm not sure why. But we're going to put this in here for now. The sugarcane. I hear another zombie behind me, but it might be too slow for the sun rises. And of course, we're on this beautiful, beautiful seed. We have all these mountains. Probably in the next stream I will share the seed there, and then everyone can play along if they want. It's quite a fun world. Beautiful, beautiful seed. This isn't quite at spawn, a little bit south of spawn. We have this nice mountain range, and there's like tons and tons of the ancient cities down beneath. I have looked a little bit on chunk base at what the seed has on it, although I haven't like specifically. I remember seeing that there was something like 18 or 20 ancient cities underneath this mountain range, so definitely quite a cool thing. Let's see what's in here. We got another 19 iron, so I think that potentially what we can do is we can sort of set up furnaces at the mine. So we can kind of make an iron mine, set up the furnaces there to get more iron blocks. We can have like a temporary kind of mining base, like something really small, but you know, it'll be useful. I think we'll actually make this with the cobblestone this time because cobble's a bit uglier than the deep slate. I wonder if cobblestone would be considered ugly if it was added when cobble deep slate was, if it was sort of opposite, like we always had deep slate, but then stone was what was beneath it, you know, because I think a lot of people not liking cobblestone is really just it being around for so long. It's just like such a sort of block that just seems to have been in the games forever, because it basically was. But I'm not sure if that has anything to do with its popularity or not. It would be interesting to look into that one a bit. But anyway, we have our furnaces. We're going to need, well, I guess we don't really need coal because we'll be mining it there. We have a shulker box. We might even grab some more furnaces. Honestly, it could be a good idea. Seems like too many, but you can never really have too many furnaces. And we have so many stone blocks and things. I mean, there's not that much to do with cobblestone really, so may as well make some. Our durability and our elytra is getting super low. We can see if we can switch it out for something with more. If we just keep like working the durabilities down so low on these, it's a bit ridiculous, but that's okay. Put that there. And I think we can probably fly over to where we're actually going to be building our base. We'll grab the rest of the iron that was smelting in here when we grab the pieces out. And then we can grab the rest of this a little bit later. I don't think there's any more iron to smelt in there. There does not seem to be. So we're going to fly over to here if we can make it. I think it's this direction. We're going to find out. We have so little durability, and it's the mountain right over here. You can see there's just so much of the stony peaks. May as well start over here with mining. We just have like infinite possibility for mining iron up here. I mean, even though it's not renewable, right? Eventually, once the iron is gone, it is gone forever from these mountaintops. The amount that there is so much that I really don't think it's going to be that much of an issue, and I don't think we're going to really mind it being gone either. It's kind of cool in a sense to see an area that had resources with those resources now being gone, because it's like a good reminder that, you know, certain things just aren't renewable. And although iron is inside of Minecraft, if you mine it this way, it's not. And so it's always interesting to sort of have those bits of perspective of, you know, you either get your untouched mountain or you have to mine the iron out of it. And of course, for most people, they don't care. They're just going to mine the iron. Why does it really matter? But of course, there is a point where if you want to have something really decorative, really good looking, you do want to prioritize sometimes perfect sort of visual generation over this. But I think that oftentimes there's so much kind of benefit you can get from the, let's say, world generation as it is, you know, that a lot of people sort of overlook that and just want to custom make things. But custom things are probably better at the end of the day. And so, you know, I know a lot of people like making custom terrain. Obviously, it's quite difficult, but especially like, I mean, just looking at these mountains here, they're huge. They're amazingly huge, and there's such crazy mountains, really, if you think about just how big they are, how many blocks are in those. I think that I did the math, and it seemed like the average amount of blocks in a chunk of the overworld was multiplied by about 3 when the 1.18 came out. Now, that's not exact, and of course, it depends a lot on where you are, but if you think about it, you know, the world is twice as, or is, well, I guess, yeah, twice as deep, kind of. And as well as that, of course, it's about twice as tall in a lot of areas because we have these mountains. But also, I mean, I've even found plains biomes where they're at like Y 150 or something, right? And that's not even a meadow, that's plains, you know? So there's so much more chance for these things to kind of generate really high up. You just have way more blocks that are there. And someone said, can I try finding an iron vein? I could. It's actually going to be slower than this. The reason why is that with this we can see all of it, and also the iron vein is in the deep slate layer, so it's all going to be deep slate iron, guaranteed. And so because of that, it's probably not the best opportunity at this point, but it is another good method of getting iron, and definitely the iron veins, the large iron veins, are such a really, really good way of getting iron if you need a lot. So certainly if you find one of those, and you'll know you found one because you'll see a large group of sort of tough mixed with the deep slate iron in like a kind of snake-like formation, then that's definitely a giant iron vein. And they can be anywhere from like 500 iron ore to like 14,000 iron ore, and that is not an exaggeration. You can literally find 14,000 iron ore in a singular giant iron ore vein, but the thing is they're mostly tough, and so because of that, it does take a very long time to kind of mine through them. So we're going to go through here, and we're going to mine the rest of these blocks. We're going to go over here. And I guess we could keep going lower with this iron. You'll notice that there's a little bit less as we get lower down. And that's because iron generates more when you're higher up. There's a little cave here. Oh, there's a creeper. Be careful of that creeper there. May as well kill it though, because we don't have a gunpowder farm. You'll notice no line of sight, no explosion. So if you're careful, then you'll actually not ever have them explode. So even right here, we'll get rid of it. Go around the corner, hit it, around the corner. It might not be the technical block distance far away enough for it to not explode, but as long as we are not in line of sight, then we're good. And there's a lot of actually coal and iron in this cave too. We're not going to explore it anymore because it's just easier to do the surface iron and coal, but you know, if you have any large sort of exposed areas, it's not really any part of the generation that makes the top of the mountain have more. It's just about the height, and so you know, even large caves that are near the top of mountains are going to have basically just as much. And we're going to start putting some of this away already. We have almost 4 stacks, which is, again, just so quick that we're getting this. And we can just continue to sort of collect this. If you have any questions about Minecraft, I can totally answer these as we sort of grind away, mining away some of this iron. I'd love to answer that and just try and share my Minecraft knowledge about any subjects maybe I haven't covered before in a video, or maybe I have, but just not for a long time. We'll go over here. Someone says to make it into the raw iron blocks. That is a very good idea. I probably will do that. I don't know if I have a crafting table actually. It's sort of funny, such a basic item is what did that. Remember a while ago people were talking about how it's sort of too bad you can't smelt them as a raw iron block and turn it into a block of iron directly. But unfortunately you cannot. And we have some questions. The first one is, any easy way to get black dye? Something you can do, this is not easy, but it's kind of easy because it's not the main purpose of it, is I found that ever since they changed around how the mobs generate in the oceans, squids generate like crazy inside of most Guardian farms. So usually when you go to your loot chests of a Guardian farm, and they never tell you this in the farm tutorials, but you'll get so many ink sacs, it's insane, like probably 10 or 12 stacks of ink sacs minimum for like a 2-hour AFK. So just absolutely crazy the amount of stuff you get. And of course that's really easy. The thing you can do as well is of course most rivers and oceans have your squids, so you can kill those for ink sacs. If you're wanting black dye, not necessarily ink sacs, and you can of course get that from the wither rose, although that's not really almost never going to be easier unless you have a farm set up for that sort of same scenario. But in terms of a no preparation, no setup way of getting more ink sacs, generally the best idea is to sort of just be in an area with lots of rivers. And I mean, I've had times where, because squids generate quite frequently, you can sort of swim up and down the rivers there, kill the squids, and then when they die, more of them will regenerate almost right away. Over here. And someone said, have I seen the new Minecraft Bedrock game mode? If you're talking about Spectator, I have tried Spectator in Bedrock. Well, if that's not what you're talking about, then I'm not sure. I may or may not have. We have a pillager patrol, unfortunately, and of course they're patrolling all the iron, which is great. We'll go over here. It's a little bit further away, but there is so much iron over here, it's insane. Like I said, of course they're patrolling where all the iron is, and they're so annoying. But we'll get all the ones but the sort of captain. We don't have any cows, so we don't really have a guaranteed source of milk, so I'm not going to kill the captain. If I had a lava bucket, you can kill them with a lava bucket. That's always a good idea. And someone said, would it be not more efficient to build an iron farm? Long term, absolutely, and long term we will have an iron farm, but short term, definitely not. So we actually have already collected like almost 2 whole iron blocks, like 2 whole stacks of iron blocks worth of iron, not just right here, but also at our base we have it smelting. So yeah, I would say maybe 40 minutes of iron mining is better than, let's say, 3 hours, 4 hours of building an iron farm. Iron farms are usually pretty small, but they take more time because not only do you have to AFK, so obviously it doesn't really work on a live streamed world perfectly, but as well as that, there is the issue that, you know, if you're working with them very short term, they're not going to give you as much benefit. Yeah, of course we are going to have an iron farm long term, so
Perfect warped fungus on a stick.
that would be that.
Stick.
We go over here. And we're going to mine the rest of the iron. And I think that, yeah, if we just look at our inventory here, we also have a lot of coal. So we have quite a bit. Some says, why do you not use a blast furnace? I can use a blast furnace. I could smelt those. One funny thing, actually, though, if we think about it, is that the blast furnace is crafted with 5 iron ingots. And so 5 iron ingots per blast furnace, if we have 16 blast furnaces, right there, that's already like almost 70, I think. Almost 70 of the blast. Actually, I think it's more than that, actually, because it's 30, it'd be 80 iron ingots just to make those into blast furnaces. So, you know, if you think about it, it's like, oh yeah, it'd be better, but it's like, well, maybe not, because a stack of iron sort of down the drain is probably not the best idea. Again, all situational. The more efficient method is always better long term, but short term, there's usually kind of shortcuts you can take. So for instance here, you know, because we're not necessarily going to be needing 16 blast furnaces long term, and we don't have an iron farm yet, we want to conserve our current iron reserves. I'm going to keep mining through here though and grab the rest of that. Someone said, did I build my house at an outpost? No, so there's 2 types of pillager generation. There is the patrols, and there is the raids, and there's the outpost, which that's 3 actually. The patrols are random, they can go basically anywhere, but not like directly in a village. And then I really want to sleep because it's so dark. But then there is the second one, which is the raid, of course. You see the pillagers there. And the third one is at the outpost. So you can actually get pillagers in your world many ways without it being from an outpost. And we're going to start using torches here so we can actually see what we're doing as we mine the iron. We're going to kind of late night mine iron, which is definitely not a safe idea. But we'll just switch our armor here to have some more safety. If we had Optifine, actually I do have Optifine, I just don't have the lighting thing on, we could probably see around us a bit better. I can actually try and turn that on. I'm not sure where it is. Actually, no, I don't think Optifine is on, is it? No, it's not. I'll have to, thought it was. Oh well, that's okay. We're gonna go over here and grab some more iron. It's probably why my frames have been so bad, actually. That's okay. I don't actually think you'll be able to tell because the frames are capped at 60 on YouTube, and so I don't think anything over that would actually make a difference. We're going to go over here. Surprisingly low amount of mobs, but it's not too surprising because the mechanic I always love mentioning because no one knows about it. It's local difficulty. Local difficulty means if you've been in an area for a very small amount of time, then you're not going to have a lot of mobs there. And so it's sort of a interesting mechanic there, and it gives us the fact that we can be, you know, in the mountains here, completely dark, lots of applicable spaces for mobs to spawn, and you don't really see any. Not really any at all. That's because the local, and there's like 1 zombie there, but you know, really, the reason why is the local difficulty is so low. And so if we're going to be here for longer, local difficulty would raise and be higher and higher. And so it's sort of why, like, if you get to a new area, always light up the caves as quickly as you can, because you'll get into a scenario fairly soon where basically those caves will eventually get so full of mobs you won't really be able to see anything but just mobs when you go into all the caves, because not only will there be limited areas for the mobs to spawn, because you know they've already lit sort of you know, done some lighting some things up when you've been to an area, but as well as that, the local difficulty is so high you'll get even more. Now, like for instance, there could be a mob up here, but you can see like there's just so little. There's like 1 creeper, whatever. So if you're ever wondering what that's about, that's how it works. Although I don't believe local difficulty is actually in Bedrock. It's a little bit different. And someone said, how deep should you go for mining diamonds? -57 or -58. I've seen people mine them higher up, but really it's never a good idea. Because although they can technically spawn at like really high levels, like let's say they can generate technically as high up as Y16, you're going to find so few. It's absolutely amazing how few you'll find at that height. So I'm just going to put these in here. Being aware, of course, of that. We have so much iron already. You can see we're really definitely getting close to how much we need, and we can break that. And someone said they saw a skeleton in full diamond armor yesterday. Well, that's so interesting. So it is possible. If you're wondering if that's true, it is possible. I've only seen it once, and it was in a multiplayer world. It was someone who was in the Nether, and they found, I think it was might have been a. I don't remember what mob it was, but they did find a mob that had full diamond armor. I remember when they killed it, it didn't drop any of the armor, which is proof that they didn't give it to them. And so that was the only time I've ever seen that, but it is a chance. It's like a 1 in a million or something. It's not maybe that high quite, but it's an incredibly low chance that they can spawn in. So like this zombie technically could spawn in with diamond armor. If you ever see a mob with diamond armor in your worlds, I'm sure that just because there's a lot of people watching the stream right now, guaranteed a couple people, maybe 10, 20 people in the stream have seen that before, maybe this year. Try and name tag it, try and save it somewhere, because you found something that is so rare and so valuable, even though it's not necessarily that, directly interesting, that it's really worth saving. I actually found a really rare mob like that a little while ago. That was in a survival world of mine, a more long-term one I've been doing, sort of in a mesa, desert, jungle area, very beautiful world, that one. And basically what I found was it was a zombie villager, baby zombie villager, that was a jockey, and it had leather armor. And I think it was even holding a sword. But it was like an insanely rare combo like that. And it was, I don't know what the exact chance was, I never calculated it, but it was definitely like a, under 10,000 chance, like super, super small chance. And so probably even, less. Because, as it is, baby zombie villagers are quite rare. I've only seen them a couple times, really. And of course, on top of that, chicken jockey and leather armor, it really just gets the chances to become so low. Again, like 1 or 2 mobs here, so little comparatively to, let's say, our base. If we flew back there, completely would be full of mobs, so it gives us kind of some more leeway in not sleeping. It's also why, sometimes your first night in Minecraft isn't actually that difficult, because there's often not a lot of mobs that will generate in. So we'll go over here. I'll mine these. Someone says, have I ever beat a survival world without dying? Yes, I have, yeah. Even this world, actually, I haven't died for a very long time on here. Like, I think that the last death on stream was like the 3rd stream or something. So like even here we've went, this is the same life that we use to defeat the Ender Dragon, to raid the end, to even raid the Nether for the ingredients to go to the end. We've gone through a lot just with this one sort of life or whatever. Not really how Minecraft works, but kind of. So I definitely have had worlds where I haven't died in them before. Although, of course, that's one of the reasons why I don't play in hardcore, is because although I could survive in them, it takes so much sort of focus and unnecessary caution to, really have a truly safe hardcore world. I think that unless it's done correctly, and it's kind of hard to do on a stream, then it really does sort of, I don't know, make things a little bit more boring, because you have to just focus so much on safety. But there is a single skeleton there. We can get that. We'll actually kill it optimally. So we'll have our sword or our shield up. I'll show what I was saying with the shield earlier. So, but actually look at that. The arrow bounced off and hit it. Look at that. Let's even do it again. No, we couldn't. But that was funny. The first one, it actually bounced off and hit it. But it's quite interesting. And I'm going to go over here. And we're going to collect the rest of this iron. There's an Enderman as well. You can notice there's a couple more mobs starting to generate in, so we're getting more as time goes along. But, overall, it's still not a lot. I'll try and place some more torches, too, so people can actually see what I'm doing. That's probably important. It is a stream, after all. We'll go over this way, and we'll start to place down some more torches. We'll mine these 2 huge iron veins here. Again, every iron vein is at least a block of iron we're getting for the beacon more, so we're really going through this pretty quickly. And it's kind of fun, too, to have so many exposed ores. And someone says they're surprised there's only 400 viewers. Well, I'm glad to have 400 viewers. I think that's a great number. But I am glad that you are watching the stream right now, and everyone else is. What tends to happen is people watch for about 10 minutes on average, and then they'll kind of like do something else. So like it's about 6,000 people will pop in throughout the entire stream, depending. But then we'll just have like only concurrently maybe 500 to 600 max, and maybe about 400 average. So but I'm still pretty happy with those numbers. And of course, as my channel grows, maybe the streams will become more and more popular. And of course, by that point, we'll probably have a more sort of late game world. But look at that, almost the entire night survived, and there's just so few mobs we encountered. It's absolutely crazy. I think once we're done getting all the iron we can see, which is not much, then we should be able to just smelt it and basically just get the beacon from there, which is honestly really cool. So we'll take a look at the things we have, and we are going to do that. Take a look. Someone said they like my voice, there's no pause to it. I do find it surprising how many streams they'll sort of have huge breaks of silence in them, even for really big streamers. For me, if I'm watching a stream, I want to, you know, have commentary along with it, so I want to try and have as consistent commentary as I can have, of course, for the video, and I'm pretty good at doing that, I'm not sure. But it was funny, I had a friend of mine who was saying I could make anything sound interesting, and I was like, well, I don't think anything. And he's like, well, try and make paint drying to sound interesting, and I kind of did. I would do that right now, but I don't want to describe paint drying to 400 people live, although we're going to go over here and we'll mine the rest of this iron that we can see, of course. And I just love these calcite strips you sort of have throughout the mountains. You know, it's so beautiful to have that, but it's also, you know, they're kind of like a variant of marble in real life. Calcite's kind of part of marble, or sort of a component of it, a variant of it. And having that calcite there in Minecraft, you know, everyone's still using quartz, of course, for a marble-like block, but still, it is it's still very useful to have for build and accent block. I've seen it done very well as sort of an accent to other blocks, and the texture, if you look at it, has some interesting little colors in it, like there's a little bit bluish here, a little bit of red, very white, but still it's, you know, they're very sort of cloud looking, a little bit more firmer than a cloud in the texture, but you could use it as a cloud, I'm sure. That's probably enough iron though. We'll take a look at what we have total. I feel like this is enough iron. We'll find out, but I think that's enough. So our durability is 30. So we're going to try flying back, and if we end up dying, then we'll end up dying. I'll get my chorus fruits on the hotbar. So 25, there we go, 24. We're going to head back here, and then we should be good. And someone said they're late, what happened? Well, I defeated the wither. I actually went to the nether first to get the ingredients to get the wither. And then we are now getting the materials to build the beacon. And so apparently those chunks were not loaded because they were still smelting, which is annoying. We'll load up all these furnaces with the iron, and we'll just kind of get these to continue to smelt full of all the iron ingots there. And then we're going to place the rest of the furnaces, I guess, below them, just like that. Kind of fills up our base at this point, but that's okay. We can remove them later, and we are going to get 16 stacks. So we want to have stacks of 16. That's always the best if we're sort of splitting things up. You could do 8 as well, but 8 only sort of smelts one batch of iron, so it's better to do 16. We'll go through here, of course, a stack if you have it. And I know some people don't really like smelting with coal. They say it's a waste. Well, my question is, what else is there to do with coal? I mean, you can make torches, that's true. And you can make coal blocks, which is quite decorative. But if I don't actively have any plans for coal block builds, I may as well use the material that Minecraft's given us to smelt. I mean, you know, coal is a good block. There's no issue with sort of smelting with coal in Minecraft. Except for the fact that, of course, you know, long term, maybe there's better efficient methods, but get the rest of this iron. Cannot believe how much iron we have already. It's amazing. We'll go through here, and we already have this iron, and we will grab the iron that we've smelted in these upper furnaces. It's about 10 in each. And then we can even see they're still almost full. So this should definitely be enough iron right here. We have our huge iron mining operation. I don't think I've ever mined this much iron at once in Minecraft, but that's kind of fun. And we'll go over here and turn that into blocks of iron. We have almost a whole stack already, which is great. So you can see that. So if you look at this, what we have left too, this just visually we can tell this is about 2 more stacks. So we now have enough iron that we've mined. So we just have to let that smelt through. And I guess if you sort of think about how long it takes per smelt, we can sort of guess how long it'll be until that's all done cooking in, you know, maybe 5 or 10 minutes or something. Someone said that coal blocks are good. Coal blocks can be good, and of course what you were saying, the auto furnace removal, you can lose the XP. There is a way of keeping the XP. If you kind of keep a queue of items there you can hold, but it is fairly difficult to do. And furnaces can be used for a lot of cool things. It's interesting because furnaces are what people use for XP storage. Sometimes they still use it. But of course now we have a literal XP storage block, the skulk block. Even looks like XP a bit. and in fact a lot bit actually. And so it's kind of interesting now that we still have that. People are, you know, going to still be using the furnace method because the sculk blocks don't hold a lot of XP. I'd love to see a way of kind of charging a sculk block into a charged sculk block, and that could have as much XP as you wanted into it. Very condensed block. Maybe it would have some of that lighter texture to it, like what the Shrieker has, let's say. Sort of look like it's reinforced. And then inside of that actual block, we could do that. We can actually, what we can do is we can sort of split off iron from here. And we can kind of smelt these in the furnaces below there to make it go quicker. That's actually sometimes a good idea, is to sort of maximize the amount of furnaces that are being used at the same time. So for instance here, we can switch these out. We can go through all these and we can kind of, we have to put coal in here of course, but we can sort of get these to start smelting. I'll get some more off there. Then we can kind of go like this. And we'll have to split this even more, but that's okay. Now we have all of our furnaces going. We can start pulling the iron out of these. It's so funny, you can just like grab iron that just came out of a furnace, you know, probably half molten, into your hands, and there's literally no issue. It's so funny in Minecraft how that works, but you know, it's kind of interesting as well. Of course, our XP is getting really high. We could enchant while we wait for the rest of this to smelt, which is good. And go through here. So someone did the math and they said it would be 21 minutes per furnace, but of course we're splitting it up, so it should actually be a lot quicker there. And we'll go through here. And now we look at this, we almost have another half stack of iron. So you can already see our iron supply is just getting so much higher here. Super exciting. Yeah, let's do a little bit of enchanting while we wait. Something I've been wanting for a while is some diamond boots that have feather falling. So if we have anything here that's not decent, we can kind of disenchant that, re-enchant that. These are really good. That's the problem. Protection 4 and breaking 3. Like, it's hard to get rid of that sort of without wasting. But we do have a lot of diamonds, so we'll grab that. And we'll grab the lapis. May as well craft another pair of boots. And I think this pair of boots will be really picky with, and we'll sort of not settle until we have unbreaking or feather falling. Okay, fire protection. That's garbage. Level 1 enchant. Disenchant, that's kind of what you do. You want to cycle through those enchantments. This one, protection 3, could be combined with feather falling 4. We'll risk it. It was not. That was not really worth the risk. I think we'll just go for only showing it straight up this time. Fire protection 3, no thank you. Disenchant. Keep going here. Actually, I think we're enchanting at a level it's too low. There we go. Level 30, protection 4. Oh man, I really want to, but I'm not sure if it will. We'll just we'll go for whatever's at level 30 unless we see it here. We'll see what we can get though. This could have feather falling 4, protection 4 again. Again, I want to. I just am really tempted not to. We'll give it one more try and we'll see if we can get it. And it seems like a waste to enchant like this, kind of is, but it doesn't hurt that much. Okay, protection 4 again. We're just gonna have to go with it. Hopefully it has feather falling 4, and it won't. Let's find out though if I'm right. It doesn't, and I just guessed that because chance mostly. But we have that, so oh well. We'll disenchant that later, even though it does have protection 4, because feather falling is so important, and we can probably re-enchant that like really soon because we have the fairly decently large amount of XP we're going to be gaining from the iron here. Now we can also do is we can actually put our diamonds away, and let's actually get those fire resistances brewing. We have of course our fire resistance or our magma cream, which is somewhere here. You can put it in the nether chest. Oh no, it's in the brewing stand. Now we have some glass. We did smelt it earlier. Let's see, I think we have some glass. A little bit. Maybe not. We might have to start smelting some of the sand more. That's okay. This is almost done, so we're going to switch this around. We'll let that smelt through. We just need 3 to make 1 batch of bottles, because 3 glass equals 3 bottles. And someone says they're excited they're in my 100-player event. Well, I'm so glad. If anyone's wondering what that's about, we're going to be having a 100-player event in about 3 hours after the stream, 2 hours after the stream. Unfortunately, there's not really any way to get to the event now, only if you've signed up already, because we just don't have enough time to whitelist everyone later. But there's going to be a lot of these events, I'm hoping. So if you ever wanted to be in a video potentially, then you can do that. We're going to have an awesome sort of, I'm not going to spoil the theme just yet, but we're going to have some really cool stuff planned, and I should have a video up on that in a couple weeks as well, because it takes a while to do that. So we need a nether wart. We have it. This may not be powered, it is not. So of course to brew we need a blaze powder. And actually, as I mentioned that, thank you to Tanya Phillips for the super chat that says who is looking forward to the server event. And go through here. People are also wondering how they get whitelisted for that. If you are a part of that, everyone's already whitelisted. It's sort of no one's allowed to join yet, but you'll want to join play.eyecraftmc.com around a little before the event, and then you'll be able to join the event server and sort of be in a waiting area. We're going to now put in the magma cream. Now, this seems obvious. Most people do this, but you would not believe how many people don't. Always put your redstone dust in your potions. Always do it, because it usually over doubles actually the amount of time that you get out of it. And you know, of course, there's like some scenarios in which that's not important, but it's usually like, you know, redstone dust is free basically. And so to turn this from 3 minutes to 8 minutes for free, definitely something you do not want to give up. So we'll let that kind of brew through there, but it's definitely a good thing to do. Let's actually see if we have any enchanted books in here that could help us with our elytra. Maybe Unbreaking 3. There's not. If there's anything on the books here, Efficiency 3, no. Alright, so we have our fire resistance, 8 minutes. We could do the splash, but we'll keep them as is. I will put them in our chest here with the bottle. And we can now grab some more iron and start crafting that away into the materials for the beacon. I've stayed up all these nights and we have like still none of the phantoms. I don't know what that's about. It looks like almost everything's done smelting, which is cool. So we can just watch our XP sort of get higher and higher. It's so satisfying to kind of go through here and get all of this XP and all of these pieces of iron really, really easy. So we can do that. And you know, I think we're probably almost have enough already for the beacon. We may have enough. You don't even have to let the rest of those smelt, probably. We have a full stack and 2 more. I'm not sure if that's enough. That's close. I think we need like just slightly more. So we should have enough total, but just like what's currently here. I think I'll destroy the furnaces actually that are not currently smelting. Although what I will do is I'll grab the rest of this sand. Actually, we'll keep it as... I'll actually keep it as sand, because I don't have any more, so we might need it for something like concrete or whatever, but we'll let the rest of this smelt. We'll put some more coal in there. But yeah, we'll just grab the rest of these furnaces, sort of just so that we have a better workspace, we can see what's there more, and do that. Someone says, why do I need potions? Well, I have the fire resistance potions because, you know, later on if we want to go to the nether or even just mine, having that fire resistance is such a very good thing to have in terms of a safety precaution that you can take. You know, half the items I tend to think of bringing in my inventory are for safety, the other half are for actual use, like let's say an ender pearl. Such an important thing to have. I know that you know, a lot of speedrunners will use those, of course, for actually going to the end, but also they'll use them for fast travel. Oh, there's 41 iron in that one, I didn't notice. Yeah, you can use that a lot. That's a good item to use. And of course, fire resistance potions, also very good. And so we put this in here, and that is definitely enough iron to make our beacon. It is night, and there's no phantoms, of course. We do have enough elytra durability to go one way, probably not both ways. We could technically make this beacon now, so I think we will. We actually have to pick an effect and all that too. We have the beacon here. What I like doing, and I'll do this right here, is making a beacon box. And it's basically to make a shulker box. I usually put like 3 stacks, and then I'll put like some extra iron on the side, or maybe some emerald. Emerald is actually usually best for this late game. Although, you know, iron and emerald, most people have farms for that. Most people have farms for gold too, if they are late game. And so because of that, it's not really that important to be that careful with it at most points. But yeah, we'll go through here, and there's the last one. We'll break that. And we now can put all the coal away. We don't really need, you know, random coal. We'll put it in the area for it, just to keep things sorted. It's always kind of tempting to put things in random areas, and although this is not perfectly sorted, it definitely is a lot better this way than like no sorting. And let's see, we only have 28 iron, I guess, that we grabbed from all that. This is certainly enough materials, and we are going to fly, even though it's so risky and kind of stupid, but that's okay. We'll grab this, and I think we're going to be good. So we're just going to basically fly that direction like crazy, checking our durability here and there. We're going to try and only use half the durability, but I'm not sure if we can. We'll definitely have to walk kind of halfway back, which is annoying, but 28, 27, So close. The second we're there, we're just going to take it off. And like right here, there we go. 22. So we used about half. And we'll put that there and we'll get our chest plate on. So this is not exactly the center, but it's about the center of the area we're going to mine out. We can kind of see that. So just for now, we'll build a beacon here. We can of course move it, but there's already a lot of stuff we can see we have to do. So we will place that down. And of course, to build a beacon, you need a 9x9. So we'll go with that. We'll go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then 9 this way. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then, of course, we can just sort of complete the square this way. Let's kill that spider before it kills us. Always good to sort of watch out for threats. And that's not really a threat, a spider, but let's say a creeper. You see a creeper behind you, don't deal with it. Definitely going to be an issue. So let's get some torches down so we can actually see what in the world we're doing. And we'll put that there. And then we'll fill this in. So you want to make a huge platform, a 9x9. This is what uses most of the iron as well, just because it's so big. And then on top of that is a 7x7. This one's much smaller, of course, because that whole, you know, you'd sort of think between the edge and the center of it, the edge is not what's causing the most sort of room, but it's actually the edge is taking up a lot of that. There's a skeleton. We'll grab that real quick. It's kind of annoying to dodge skeletons, so unfortunately, if I can't get my shield out in time, usually best just to rush them. And here's the second to last tier. I keep messing this up, but there we go. So exciting though, having a beacon, and we've gotten so much done in this episode. It's amazing, really, and we weren't really prepared for it either, but there we go. There is the beacon. It looks a bit small. I'm not sure why, because we're so close to it. There we go. That's normal size. And then we'll grab the beacon there. We'll grab our iron, put down that beacon, and we look at that. We have two achievements. We have the first one, bring home the beacon, which is to construct in place. And the second one is Beaconator, which is to bring it to full power. And of course we did it at the same time, so we get both achievements at the same time. And we are going to have to consume an item. Let me just look around for any creepers. There's none I see. There's one over there, but that's pretty far. And we're going to go for haste 2. So we're going to go haste, haste 2. And there's a lot of things you can do here, but we'll just go for that haste 2. And you can see with haste 2, and I don't think we actually have a pickaxe that's quick enough to insta-mine. Maybe this can? No, it can't. Yeah, it has to be efficiency 5. But still, pretty soon we'll be able to get that. So we have the beacon. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And even like the music seems to fit again. It's always so cool. We can see the torches we put on the mountain there. It's kind of interesting. And the beautiful beacon going into the sky that I just love. But anyway, that's going to be the end of this live stream. A little bit shorter, but I'll be having an event to do in about 2 or 3 hours. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to press the like button, make sure to subscribe, make sure to do all these things that help me, help the video, and just are perfect for that. I hope you are having a great Saturday, and I hope that I'll get to see you in the next one. And feel free to also check out my newest video, the dye guide and firework guide. Seems boring, but a lot of good stuff there.